first guests?
Yes.
What? Excuse me.
How did you know that this love was it? Do you think that there are specific roles that a man should play?
What do you think a male's job is in a relationship?
So then what do you think is the woman's role?
God, it's just this. I don't like these questions.
What do you think happens when you die?
A male's role in a relationship doesn't necessarily have to translate over to an intimate relationship. It could be a friendship, right?
Why are you in a bad mood? It's like when my husband asked me, why are you in a bad mood, when I'm not in a bad mood, but now I am in a bad mood because he asked me why I was in a bad mood.
Yeah.
Right.
You guys were in the bathroom. We're talking about how to use the P word.
See?
Yeah.
Well, this is strange.
Oh, stranger things have happened.
Welcome to the podcast, y'all. Today, we have two of our friends here,
Yeah.
and we're going to talk to them.
Is this the first guests?
Yes.
What?
You guys are our first guests.
I couldn't have put that pressure on you if I had told
I
you.
can't hear myself.
I feel so special.
That's probably because I turned it down. Side note, disclaimer, I'm also the editor.
That's right. Dev is the editor of our podcast. So if the stunning graphics can be attributed to my man here. So yeah, we're just gonna get into it today. I want to start with like how we know you guys.
So we should let them introduce themselves.
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, that goes into the all-encompassing. I'm going to be backing him up the whole time. This is what's going to happen. I'm going to be like, nah, you get off my dog. And she's going to be like, I told you so.
Why are you doing
Men
that?
suck.
This is why we should have been on one side, you guys on the other, but that's okay.
I'll have to look at you.
Oh, I didn't know we were adversaries today.
Not yet.
Dun
Oh.
dun dun.
Depends on you. So I've known you guys for 2.5 years, 3.
Maybe a little bit
Maybe,
longer.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah. So yeah, let's see. So I met you guys through someone I was dating at the time, and then that didn't work out. And then I don't remember who contacted who, but basically it was like, hey, I still really like you. If you want to hang out, that would be awesome.
I think it was both of us. We were like, how's Mav doing? You know?
Especially because you were in the hood.
I was.
Yeah. We were neighbors.
You
Yeah, we
right
were
next to us.
neighbors. And
Well,
so
we liked
then-
you more. I liked you more
You liked me.
than the other.
Oh. Well, that's good. Yeah. So then we just kind of kept in contact, and then obviously you've done some video stuff for me throughout the years.
Mhm.
The Viking in the farmers market, the infamous Viking in Publix, which
Yep.
I just showed her recently. She didn't even know I did that.
Publix was these hands right here.
Yeah, looking back, I can't believe I did that. So yeah, but you guys introduce yourselves. Tell us about yourselves. How long you guys have been married, etc.
I'm Devin. This is my lovely wife. We haven't been married for long.
April last year.
Right. But we've been together for about 5 years.
Mhm.
Yeah. Had a little stint in high school.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
We did.
Rekindled the flame.
Yeah, I guess you call it that. We gave it a go, you know. You know, I like to ride horses, but I'm not good at it, you know.
And then you proposed inside of a glacier.
Uh-huh. Yeah, in
Really?
Iceland. Yeah.
On a glacier in an ice cave.
Yeah, we brought some of her friends along, and we kind of had it under the guise that it was for another person's birthday. And she knew about it the whole time, and just let me believe that it was going to be a surprise regardless.
You knew?
Well, it's Devin's most favorite place in the
It's my
entire
favorite
world.
place on earth.
So I'm like,
There's nothing better than
all
Iceland.
right, we've been together a significant amount of time, and I'm going to his favorite place in the entire world. So there's a good chance.
Yeah. Safe bet.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, that's beer too, so it's going to get weird.
Yeah, we brought out the beverages.
Mhm.
And so obviously, in addition to videography, you do.
Normal job is firefighting.
Mhm.
Been doing that for about almost 8 years now. Yep. So, it's interesting that videography was kind of like a passion project, and then it turned into like I wanted to be a travel vlogger. Like I'm gonna travel the world and create this YouTube channel, and everybody's gonna give me free shit and hotels and stuff. And no, that's not what happened. But now it's turned into something that's it's more rewarding than I ever thought it was going to be. It's cool. Met some cool people, traveled some cool places.
Beautiful. Yeah. So if you're listening here and you need a podcast editor, Dev's your guy.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you want to fund, like, really, hey, look, shout out. We're looking for funding for Antarctica 2026.
Yeah, because your wheelhouse is actually like action type of stuff,
Yeah.
like guns and CrossFit and fitness
Travel.
stuff. Yeah, so that's actually
Adventure.
But you got some really cool shit when it
Thank
comes
you.
to that stuff.
We'll link the Instagram in the bio.
In the show notes. It'll be in the show notes.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, 20 minutes of this is gonna be plugging.
And Ash, you are doing
As far as work,
yes,
dental hygienist.
beautiful. And but
Well, first and foremost, I'm a mom. That's my main goal. Be the best mom ever.
which you are, yeah. And so those of you who have seen the Slay ad of the woman with the son and talking about hormone,
Yes.
that was Ash.
Very
Yes.
very cheap labor. Cheap help.
But that's a great video.
Thanks.
That's an awesome.
I actually
video.
had someone like the comment that I left on that today, and we posted that one.
It's an older video.
months and months
Yeah.
and months ago.
Oh.
Yeah, I ran it as an ad for a long time.
Mhm.
It's a great ad.
We gotta make some new shit.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
So yeah, so now we just get together every now and then, not as much as we'd want to with
Because life.
life schedule with kids,
Yeah.
but now we just get together and freaking hang out. We're like, why don't we just hang out on the pod?
Here we are.
Kate, you're really good with prompts.
What do you mean? I'm just listening.
What do you mean?
I'm just listening.
She always has these great prompts like, what's most important to you in a relationship? Or what do you value most in a partner? Or
I don't think I've ever asked either of those questions.
you do, but they're similar. I'm just saying, those are examples.
I'm like,
Well,
those
let's-
words in that order have never gone.
We'll be okay. All right. Here's what happens. We'll be at her parents' house, and like she'll just start like itching, right? Like her leg will start like shaking, and then like 20 minutes in,
Listen.
she's like, "So what's the hardest part of marriage?"
Because I don't like talking about nothing. You know, when
Okay.
people sit around on their
Small talk.
phones, there's TVs on, nobody's communicating, we're all in the room together, we never see each
Yeah.
other. And I enjoy conversations that have some depth to them. So I will get bored to a point where I'm like, I need.
I need to talk about this stuff because this is what's important to me.
Yeah.
I was giving
Fair.
you kudos. You're good at it.
Oh.
You know, you're good at
I
prompting.
thought you were picking on me.
I
That's
need
how it
everybody to
felt.
time out for a second and take a look at this.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
we do have a guest. We have
Oh,
we have
You're
a,
disturbing
Look
hands.
at this.
we do have a guest on today.
He's trying
This is our
Look at this.
camera 1, camera 2.
to. Hi,
Yeah.
Let him go
bud.
back
He
to
just
his
chilling.
slumber.
God.
Yeah, we gave him a bath.
Go.
Yeah, that's our recent addition. I mean, we
look at
haven't
See,
Yeah,
he's good.
Miles.
we haven't even talked about him yet. Yeah, we just got a puppy, golden doodle.
Loafed
Yeah,
up.
mini golden doodle.
Oh,
So he's
He's a
chilling.
sweet boy.
he's a squish.
That's our he's been chilling the whole time. I forgot he was in here. So yeah, we're doing that. And then Logan is 5.
6.
It was 6 now.
November.
Goodness, I thought he
Yeah.
was just 1 year older than Den.
We took him to Disney on a surprise trip. He loved it. The Star Wars and Hollywood Studios.
Still financially recovering.
Yes. Also.
Disney's rough, dude.
It's brutal.
Oh my god.
It's amazing. Like Star Wars, the attention to detail in Star Wars is absolutely incredible. And I'm a big Star Wars geek. Logan loves Star Wars. He loves Legos and Lego
It was a
Star
trip for the
Wars.
boys.
Yeah, so I
Clearly.
finagled it so it would also be a trip for me.
Right. That's what I did too. I was like, oh, he needs video games. So he needs a new Mario.
Exactly.
He needs Sonic.
Exactly.
I'm like, yes, I get to play these now. It's nostalgic, man. Nintendo's done a great job.
They have.
So yeah, you got married in April. Did that just getting married, did that change anything in regards to your day to day or how you interact with one another at all?
It makes it easier for me to talk shit without a lot of repercussion. Like
You think so?
I don't have the fear of waking up alone one day because I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Oh,
I
ball and
don't
chain.
say that. I don't. But no,
I mean,
all jokes aside, it didn't.
It didn't really change anything from day to day. I did acquire health insurance finally.
Sure.
So for me, that was a win.
That's big.
But but really, day to day stuff, no.
Yeah.
How's it been because I don't have this experience,
Mhm.
and I guess you and Kate can kind of talk about this too. But like, how's it been as stepdad, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
How has that been for you? How was that hard in the beginning? Like, was there any did you ever have to tread lightly around like discipline or everybody's different? So I'm just interested to know like how that has gone.
Well, before we started dating like now, with her as a mom, and me not, having kids, I was on this path of like, I'm going to be single forever. I want to travel. I want to do all this cool stuff, blah, blah, blah. And, like for a long story short, it ended up, we fell in love, rekindled the relationship. And it was a giant learning curve for me because I had really no like desire for kids. I wasn't actively looking for a relationship, and it all just kind of happened at once. And luckily, Logan was young enough to where we could create that bond. I mean, he was what, one? Give or take.
He was older than one, but
Yeah.
still very impressionable age.
Right. And kind of like also still young enough to where he didn't really know what's going on. You're two. But it was definitely a learning curve for me because I don't know how to. I mean, I guess nobody knows how to be a dad in the beginning, but like I'm not dad, so I had to figure out how to navigate being respectful to her as technically a single mom. Dad and I had to have a sit down because I understand from his point of view how, like, I'm this new guy in the family.
So you guys did sit down and talk.
Oh yeah, that was part of like.
Well, that was an arrangement that I had made with Logan's father in the very beginning, that when I were to start a relationship, a serious relationship, I would have him introduced to that person because I wanted there to be a comfort level. So there wasn't this residual underlying anxiety around having Logan with me on my time and him being worried who he's around.
Right.
So
Yeah, and it was a super respectful discussion. And I think once he learned, like, I have a good job and I have a good ambitions and I'm not like, a scumbag. I'm not a loser. And I get it. Like, I'm going to be around his very, very young son, his only kid, so I completely understood where he was coming from. So once that portion happened, it made it a little bit more real for me. Like, hey, you got to step up on your side because it's split custody. I mean, you understand. But I can say that I've been very grateful and I'm thankful that everybody gets along. Like, we do holidays together. We go to his like
Christmas program.
Right, school events together. My family's met his family. Like, everybody gets along. So it's a little bit of luck, and
I was gonna say it's rare.
Right. I mean, we all know horror stories of, the new guy's girlfriend or the new girl's convict boyfriend or whatever, like there's all kinds of stuff out there, but so yeah, it's been challenging. I've had to get over some selfish tendencies, and know that it's not just me for me anymore. It's me for us. And
that was a big part. Like once he became bonus dad, it was more so him acknowledging that I'm not doing this life alone anymore. Like I now have two others that I have to also include in all of my decisions and where I'm going from here.
Right. Like, fuck, I can't go to Asia for 2 months anymore. Like that shit's gone. But again, like it's interesting, right? Like, I wake up and I choose this every day. I chose it every day, and I have decided that this is where I'm gonna, the rest of my life is gonna be. But I'm also fortunate because it's split custody, so we can kind of go to Asia for a month. Can't go 2 months,
He'll figure it out some way, somehow.
Yeah.
How'd you guys meet?
High school.
Or I guess, how did it rekindle?
Oh,
he slid into the DM.
Oh, did he? I think
He
I heard that
did.
story once.
yeah. She was posting a bunch of word. Look, ladies, first of all, when you guys start going through it, don't post the word memes and like, she stood strong in the storm. Like, don't do that because that's immediate flag. Like, something's happening. So hey, how you been?
And I give you a very honest
The
answer.
immediate answer was, I'm getting the big D and not the good one.
Yep.
Divorce. And I was like, oh,
Yep.
I want to do lunch.
I'm so sorry.
about that.
Anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So what are you
And
doing
here we
on
are.
Wednesday?
Here we are.
Yeah.
Sacrificing snowboard trips for Disney now.
Almost. You turned that around. You're making it happen.
Right.
My hero.
Yeah, I do what I can.
It's my
Crossy
guy.
bears.
Shit.
But honestly, like you had made a comment earlier about your son when you pick him up and he's saying, "Where's Kait?" It's the same thing when I pick him up from school. Where's Devin?
Yeah.
Is Devin home? Is Devin at the fire station? So he loves him so much.
It's been cool.
How did you know it was like, obviously both of you have been in relationships prior. How did you know that this love was it? How did you know, like, this is the person I want to marry. This is the person I want to spend my life with.
For me, it was more so my comfort level, like feeling like at home when I'm with him. Like there's not, like, yeah, we have disagreements on things, but it's never nasty. There's no like name calling. It's very healthy. It's a very healthy relationship. And then just basically like the things that he enjoys, the things that I enjoy, they're just in alignment.
Well, I think we've all both of us have been through enough of the bad relationships to the point where, okay, let's take a step back. At least my story personally, like I had to take a step back and I took a year off from dating. I traveled, I went through some type of therapy one way or another, did a lot of work on myself, figured out job stuff, figured out money,
His eat, pray, love
yeah,
situation.
Yeah, one of my tour, my Sandra Bullock tour, or what was it, Julia Roberts? I don't remember. But and then everybody preaches this all the time. You guys preach it in the podcast. Normally, is once you do the work on yourself, then you make yourself available for that high value person to come into your life, and that's it. Just happened, and like I said, I had no ambitions to be in a relationship. I didn't want to be. I wanted to be single forever, and not to be a player or whatever. It was just I enjoyed doing whatever I wanted. I enjoyed traveling. I enjoyed working all the time, and by not looking for a relationship, I think I found the best one that I could have ever wanted. And an unlikely place, a friend from high school that to me was unattainable for me in my brain. And that's because she was always in a relationship. Had nothing to do with like my level. I never had the chance. You know what I'm saying? Fuck. What was I talking about?
By not looking for it.
Oh, right. Thank you. See there. It wouldn't have worked in the 20s,
Oh, definitely not.
Early 30s, like, and I was a maniac. She was a maniac. It just, we got all the bullshit out of the way. And I think we both reconnected at a time where we wanted something that was healthy, that was supportive, that was
adventure seeking.
Yeah, we share a lot of similarities, but we also have we share dislikes that we both are okay with, if that makes sense. We argue well, because there's always going to be arguments, there's always going to be disagreements, and it's always going to be how you, this is all of my opinion, internet world, is that if you can handle those things in a healthy fashion to where at the end of the day you understand why they're upset, you understand why they don't like this thing, then, that means something. And it's hard to find, especially now. I mean, you guys know what it's like dating in 30s and 40s. It's a disaster.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think what you said was really profound, and I think it's very true. It's not. She says this all the time, but it's not about if you argue, but how you argue, and more importantly, how you repair. Mm-hmm. So I wholeheartedly agree. And the lines of respect need to be maintained, and also some leeway for mistakes, some grace for mistakes, for being human. But it's very similar to us. I mean, I had committed to being single for a year. I had made an agreement with a mentor at the time that I was not going to date. I'd just gotten out of a relationship last January, and I was like, man, I'm just gonna commit to working on myself for a year and just be single. And then, of course, here she comes in March, April,
like a wrecking ball.
Yeah, I was like, of course, this perfect human would,
like a Midwestern wrecking ball.
There she came.
To be fair, I reached out to get him on my podcast.
You can't even look at the size of your smile.
Because it worked out in my favor. But I reached out to get him on my podcast. That's how it started. Mm-hmm. And he'll tell you, I was very professional on the podcast.
She was. I honestly, and I haven't told you this, two things. I saw the R ring, so I was like, she's married. I also considered the fact that you might be a lesbian. Like it was that low, and that says more about me than it does about you. There was so little interest. I was like, not only is she's married, but she doesn't like men. Like, I don't think she's into men at all. For a second, it was fleeting. I was like, she's attractive, but I don't think she's. She's like, I would not be surprised if there. And that's how professional you were and uninterested you seemed. Like that was my takeaway. That's
this
why
is awesome. Look at her face and look at your face, and I'm like, you guys need to have a glass of wine before every podcast.
Yeah. So I didn't 100% think you're a lesbian, but I was like, I wouldn't be like it's
80%.
Yeah, like 75. But so like after that, I just completely I was like, there's no way she's interested whatsoever. And I was like, that's fine because I got to be single, I got to be strong. And then you got an email that had me in it, and then you reached out as a result of that. We got on a FaceTime. We're on the FaceTime for 4 hours. In the midst of that FaceTime, I realized she, in fact, was not only not married,
Not a lesbian.
not a lesbian,
Not married,
but also interested. So
what a rush of emotions.
Yeah.
In a single
in one FaceTime,
instance. Yes.
I went from one spectrum to the other, and I was like, well, I mean, I hear Loxahatchee's a beautiful vacation spot. You should maybe come visit.
That's right. You had just moved out here.
Yes.
Solo.
Yeah, I had moved here October, and then you and I'd been living here for.
Look at all the potential you and I had. It's gone. You guys sapped it out of us.
I think we enhanced. But
There we go. There she is.
Yeah. So then we, but there's a lot of similarities. Number one, we like all the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
We have very similar lifestyles. We also dislike a lot of the same things.
Yep.
Besides bacon and cheese. I
Gross.
love bacon and
Gross.
cheese, and she hates it.
wait, you're not a huge fan of bacon either?
Absolutely not.
Yes. Literally ordered an.
Podcast is over.
He loves bacon. And this morning we were at breakfast, and I'm like, can you take the bacon out of the omelet? And I look at him, and he's like, in his dramatic ways.
Flip this table over.
I'm like, it's just so overrated.
It's definitely overrated. Same with cheese. Cheese will ruin things for me.
Weird.
Okay, look.
Not
so
in alignment there.
I am not ignorant to the fact that there are different types of bacon.
True.
There's real bacon, and then there's like Publix bacon.
There's salad bacon.
Yeah,
There's
that out.
egg. There's breakfast bacon.
Can't say Publix.
They're
You can
all
say
gross.
Grocery store. Can I?
Yeah.
I guess. But there's like butcher style bacon that will change your life.
No, it won't. I'm pretty convicted about that.
I can see this.
Yeah. We have a lot of passionate debate over certain things.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
Passionate. She loves the debate.
I
That's
do.
her shit.
I enjoy.
So at what point I want to redirect. At what point did you two realize that you are everything that you say in every podcast that I edit of you guys? Because it's interesting for the audience. Like I get to see kind of behind the scenes. Like right when they hit record, there's a good 5 minutes of just silly banter and joking around and getting the sillies out. And I see interactions that you guys don't see. And it's fascinating for me to see how, they really care about each other, and they like, you just feel the kind of energy, right? So I'm curious as to when you guys felt that at first.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was very skeptical of him initially, and that's because not just because of how he was to me, but like
This is a sack of man meat.
a sack of man meat. Yes,
Get whatever you want.
it wasn't about what I wanted. It was
Not
more
you,
about
him as a man.
Yeah, that for sure.
Just douchebagville in the beginning, right? No offense.
Something I had coined the term of pretty poison, and
Sure.
he was very
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
like that.
Yes.
I'm like, too good to be true. Total player, like has a huge audience. I'm sure he's
There's got to be
dabbling.
weird shit somewhere.
Yeah, and I was like, but there's something there. So it was like that inner conflict of like, but am I making the choice because it's like something I want to prove myself in? Because like I have a history of like choosing men that I have to like get their approval of to be good enough for. I'm like, is that the impulse for me, or is there more to this story? And so for me, it was like, I'm not going to come to a decision. I just need to give it more time. And so after that call, we talked about dates to fly out down here. And it was like right after that, the weekend. And then obviously he has different weekends with Dan. So it was like alternating weekends. And I picked the last date in June. And so we had met in March. And I was like, this will give me enough time to figure out if he's just saying the right thing to me.
Right.
Or if this is something he's going to be consistent in, he shows up,
Right.
or regularly communicate, he puts in the effort.
Tall orders.
Right. So I was like, we'll just see. And with that, he was very consistent every single day. There was not a day that he missed. There was not a day where he was weird or something was off. Like, he showed up as him every single day.
Mm-hmm.
The him that I know now.
Right.
And so with that, there was some external perceptions of him that, being in certain arenas in which we both work, we have people in common that we know. And so I had become, I would say, good acquaintances with a few people that had different opinions of him.
Sure.
And so that came to a head at one point, and I had a choice to make. And I remember at that time we had a conversation, and he was like, I should stick to my agreement and see this through. And if you're still single, I'll call you after the new year, January 1st, right? And I was like, I didn't like that. See, I'm the type of person, when we first got together, I said, I have 3 rules. And this is how it's going to work. If you want to pursue something with me, I'm not here to waste my time. I'm not looking for a fling. I don't need entertainment. Like, I want something real. I need you to mean what you say and say what you mean. Tell me the truth, even if it hurts my feelings, and never ask me to do something that you're not willing to do. Right? Those are my 3 rules.
Right. You can't go wrong with any one of those things.
Correct. And so I was like, if he meant everything that he said to me to this point, then there's no way that you just turn around and pretend like this didn't fucking happen.
Right. Super weird.
So I was a little irritated, and I was like, I'm just going to say how I feel. And so I remember I shot him a video message, and I was like, I don't fucking like this. I don't like this after everything that we've talked about, all the hours that we spent on FaceTime, the number of conversations that we've had, for this to be it. I don't fucking like that.
Translation is, I set a boundary, and she blatantly violated that boundary.
Fucking women.
You did, but it's the best thing that ever could have happened.
It's awesome because I can't see her expression, but I will later when I edit.
Yeah, you will.
Well,
Yeah,
I did
you
though.
will.
I was like, listen, I'm gonna honor this agreement, and I'm gonna and then a couple days later, it's like, I don't fucking like this. This is
Yeah.
I don't like it. But that actually spoke a lot. It spoke a lot of volumes. I was like, okay, she's actually convicted in this. She wants me. She wants this. She believes in this. Like, all right. And then I had to have a very volatile conversation with my mentor, who I had set that agreement with, because he was hell bent on holding that to holding me to that agreement.
Sure.
And that was tough. But actually looking back, I think it was a big test that I passed, because I stood up for myself.
Well, good on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he was just trying to hold me to what I had
Them,
set out
they,
to
whatever.
do.
You know. Fuck.
It's good, Def. Good.
Sorry. I gotta edit that out.
But yeah, I had to have that very uncomfortable conversation, because then I knew, I was like, okay, she is someone with conviction. She's someone who will go after what she wants, regardless of the friction or external opinions, et cetera. Because you did that despite those external opinions about me.
Well, and like other things too that I could have not been so forgiving for, but I was, because I believe in people's ability to change. And I also, again, like, under the assumption that you value the things that I valued and you agreed to them the way that I agreed to them, that the math doesn't math when you say those things and then you do that. There's just it doesn't make sense. And so I was like, I can't have that open loop in my mind. So either it's like, you meant the things that you said and the things that we discussed and they were real, or you didn't mean anything and you just said it because you say shit like that. And so it was more of like, I need to reconcile that for me. And also I would regret not saying that this is on my heart. And so just letting that go.
Side note, I told her, if you were still single January 1st, I'll call you or send you a text and ask if you're still single. Mm-hmm. And so
and she was like, "Are you out of your fucking mind?"
Well, the funny is like
every opportunity has a shelf life, sir.
Yeah.
She didn't say that. But what happened was iOS came out with that update where you can schedule texts. And so I scheduled a text to go out January 1st and still ask her if she was still single. So she got it at midnight, January 1st. And I was like, have you checked your phone? She looked at her phone. She's like, how did you do that? And I was proud of myself.
Yeah,
I said, I told you I was going to do it.
Oh, so you waited then. Like basically like after, so this was June, yeah?
That happened in May. So what happened after that conversation, because he still had booked my flights and we were in this weird space of like, this is where I was like, I don't know. I
told her, I was like, I
now.
haven't touched your flights.
So randomly,
still
I just get a mess. Like we're going through this, like reconciling
You
the
can still
issue.
fly out if you want to.
Yeah, and he's like, I just need you to know I'm not canceling your flights. And I was like, good. I think that's all I said. And then we still
He's like, also
communicated.
they're upgraded to Comfort Plus.
They were first class, actually.
Oh,
yeah.
my dog.
Yeah. And then I remember
Amex points
flying
gone.
here, and I was like, this is crazy.
Was that the hurricane story?
No, that's
No,
another
that's
story.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the first time I came here, I remember like I'm sitting there in first. I'd never flown first class in my life. I'm like, they're handing me hot towels.
Yeah.
Feet.
It's crazy.
I'm like, I don't even know what's happening right now. I'm on this flight from Texas
Your
to Florida.
drink is half empty. Here's a full one. You're like, oh,
Yeah, bananas. Do you need anything, miss?
pilot's
Can I
coming
get
out and talking to
anything?
you.
Yeah, weird. It's just wild. But I remember on the flight here getting closer because like the anxiety rides as you get closer to it. I'm like, am I insane? I'm flying state lines for somebody that I'm very, I believe I'm in love with, but I haven't actually ever met. But we've
Right.
spent like 3-4 hours every single day on FaceTime, numerous messages. Like I feel like I know him, but is he going to be who I think he is in person? So I have this like
Catfish.
panic attack, and I'll never forget getting off the plane and seeing him step out of his car, black jeans, black shirt, hair's done, tall. I'm like, okay, yep, good job. And then we get in the car, and he's just like red, like when people are anxious and nervous, like blushing. I'm like, this is sweet. And that whole time, from the moment he opened his mouth and spoke to me, it was exactly as if we had met 1,000 times before.
Oh.
Nothing was weird. There was no awkward, at least for me. I can't speak for you. But it was just like everything that he was to me from a distance, he was just as much in person. And that gave me a lot of peace because I was like, this wasn't a game. And it wasn't
Right.
like, I'm going to lure you in and then like be weird. It was like, no, I meant everything I said to you. And I'm really happy that you're here. And it was just from there on, I was like, I'm safe.
You had a great first date.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't say what I thought when I first saw you. Remember the thought?
Yes.
You're like, God
No.
damn. Just like a rabid wolf.
I had the most.
Wolf.
Yes. The
You know
vet
what I
was
found
like,
interesting about the two of you?
But
So, because of her response to you initially on that first podcast, you said she was very professional. Is it because in your past you're used to women throwing themselves at you and being extra thirsty?
What's that power like? Talk to me.
I'm going to have to
Explain
leave for
to
this
me.
conversation because
Man,
I don't
no,
want to hear
I
it.
just want to know. Like I've gotten by, but I mean, I like.
I want to.
Jesus.
I want to take full responsibility for how I built relationships for so long, and like the type of person I would pursue, and why I pursued people, and what it was based on. And a lot of it was just very, very surface level. How can this person make me look? Was this person's accolade? Like it was just nothing about the actual person. And it was really good the way we went about our relationship in the beginning because I didn't know what she looked like from the neck down for the first 3-4 months we were talking.
Kind of like Love is Blind, when that reality show.
Yeah.
They don't know what the other
That
person
is
looks
the
like.
greatest train wreck.
That
ever.
show?
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's pretty bananas.
But it was great because all of our connection, all of our conversation was built on who we are as people, what our values are, and none of it had anything to do with how the other person looked or what have you, which is what I built relationships on prior, which is why they were like a house of cards. Because at the end of the day, when you start spending more time with somebody, what's left? It's like, well, who they are as a person,
Absolutely.
how they live their life, what their values are, et cetera. So we built this on values. We built this on meaning. We built this on very long, depth-filled conversations about what we wanted in life, what certain things meant to us. What does moving in together mean? I didn't have any meaning in my life prior to this relationship. Nothing meant anything. It was all just a show.
Work.
Yeah, it was just like checking boxes essentially, and then
Right.
but none of it actually meant anything to me. And so it was very chemically driven. It was built on like, oh, this feels good, so it must be right. I conflated attention with love. I thought I was in love, but it was just like I just like this person's attention. And so this is the first time in my life where something was actually had depth to it There was a actual aligning of values. There was reciprocity in what we both wanted. We also have very similar needs as well. And then I think a lot of times people can feel really needy, or maybe they were labeled needy in the past, or maybe they feel
Just wrong person.
especially as a man, you feel sometimes, I think, insecure to ask for something. And so I never felt that once ever, it was quite the opposite. And so we were just in sync the entire time, but the way we built the relationship was so different from how I had historically gone about relationship. And it was very good for me. We didn't sexualize the relationship. We did not have sex the first time you came here.
No.
Which was great for us. Nothing was built on physical,
Sure.
sexual,
Right.
any of that stuff.
Right.
So for me, that was pivotal.
Well, similarly,
Yes.
similarly, at the time when we like reconnected, I was working at a different fire department in Central Florida, and I was living on the west coast of Florida. Like I was in Bradenton, and then I moved to St. Pete, and then I lived in the actual Central Florida where I worked, and then I finally moved over here. But so
Bradenton, St. Pete, Lake Wales.
yeah. So for those 3 years, we did long distance. Like I would drive over. I mean, granted, I was closer than, Kait was. Like I could drive to it, but it was a 3-hour drive, and you know how life works. And there's like I was still trying to build the videography business, and I was working shift life, and she had her life, and we were all just kind of trying to navigate it. So it was long distance. It was a lot of FaceTime. It was a lot of phone calls, long phone calls, and so like I can relate to that portion of it where you built the relationship before it really got super physical. Like it wasn't based off of just that.
Yeah, and I personally had a lot of my own history that contributes to some of my, I would say it's probably deemed as like prudeness. But I just wasn't interested in that. I was like, I'm not coming here so that you can ravish me.
Well, it's always fleeting,
And
right?
then, and it was just not what I was looking
and then back
for.
on your plane.
Yeah, and it was not, I wouldn't have felt good about myself with that decision.
Sure.
Like, I knew where I stood with that. And so his respect around that boundary, because some dudes will be like, yeah, I totally get it. And then like try to push you into
Like
it.
playing hard to get. Like, oh, I
Yeah.
like this game.
Like, no, I'm not changing my mind.
I hate it when they do that.
Insane.
No, I can convince her. No, but he was very respectful. It was probably the best 4 days of my life.
Huh.
Like we just had so much fun from start to finish. Really good memories. Watched the Celtics win a championship. Went to the gun range.
Was that the iguana trip?
That was the lizard, man. Yeah.
Did we tell you guys about that?
I don't think so.
Go on.
Holy shit, man. Yeah, the first trip here, we got in the car to go to the gun range. We get to the gun range, and I opened my door, and a huge one of those Jesus lizards that can run on the hind legs, like this long, falls out of the top door seal into my lap.
I was on your truck the whole time.
We don't know this day. We don't know how it got there.
He literally abandoned me. He literally left me to die.
Oh wait, we'll get to that.
Heck
We'll get to that.
Yeah, he left me.
There's
He
two
literally-
perceptions.
The ranger.
Perceptions.
You're
The
supposed to be
Army
the protector.
Ranger's like,
See?
yo, fuck
See?
lizards.
No, he
are-
literally gets out and fucking runs.
She always
and the lizard,
asserts herself here.
the
I love it. You're the
Tries
first.
to get ahead of it. She's trying to get ahead of it.
It's stereotypical. The biggest, baddest dude always gets eaten in the Jurassic Park movies first.
Exactly.
You're out.
so he just ran.
That's not
and
what
then
happened
it came
at
back
all.
and attacked me.
It did
It
attack
did.
her. It did get all over her.
Just mouth open.
But here's there's two
So it
scenarios
didn't
here.
protect me. You see,
But there's two scenarios. It either rode the car all the way there,
Sure
or it like jumped on top of the car when we got there. I don't know, but it ran on my lap. So what I did was to protect her. I
Threw it at her.
jumped the lizard out of the car. Like I got out of the car and the lizard came with me. The lizard got back in the car.
because he ran
Oh.
away
Physically, I didn't run away. I was
from
right next to the car. I was right next to the car. And because I saw the whole thing, and it physically assaulted her, like got all over her. She screams, get out of the car, and then it's trapped in the car. So we're trying to get it out of the car. We go to one end, it runs to the other. We go open the trunk, it runs to the front. Finally, it's like buries itself in a hole. I have an electric car, so there's no engine. It just goes behind the pedals into the front part of the car, gone. We're like, all right, we'll go shoot guns now. So we went and shot guns for like an hour. Came back. We're like, well, this fucking lizard's still in this car somewhere. But we drove all the way home, nothing, right? we get home and
Just
nothing
in the
happens.
rearview mirror, like.
Well, like we didn't. You were here for what? 2 more days after that? Nothing. No peep. Nothing. Right?
No,
like,
but didn't you say like your sensor?
that happened after.
Yeah.
So you were here for 2 more days. We drove 2 or 3 more places. Nothing. Okay. She flies back home. I go back home. I'm sitting there with Denver, and my burglar alarm goes off in my car. It was like there's a theft alarm. And I go out and I open it, and of course the lizard's in the driver's seat of the car.
Just in it.
Yeah, just like looking at me like I'm like it's like
What are you doing here?
yeah. And there's
You're home.
yeah. And there's shit in the like everywhere in the floor mats, the seat, everything.
God.
So Denver and I each get a broom, and this was on camera. I have a recording of the camera watching us, but like we both got a broom and tried to get it out. Finally, I just left all 4 doors open and it left. Or either that or there's a corpse in the front of that car somewhere.
It's just a dead fucking lizard.
Yeah. But we
In
still
your
don't know
frunk.
like how the fuck it got on. Like I don't know how it got in the car.
Only going to accept the fact that it was holding on. Just
No, because remember the day that Shannon came over and she had the lizard on the car? It was the same thing. It rode over from her house.
right.
That
And
had
as
to be
soon
what
as she went to
happened.
go open
That
the door,
has
it was
to
the
be.
same thing. She saw it dangling and she shut the door really fast. She's like, she called me. She's like, I'm not getting out of the car. You have to come out here and
My
remove this lizard.
toxic trait
Yeah.
is if Jurassic Park was a real thing, I would still go.
Oh, same.
100%.
Same.
And I would hope that it would all go to shit and I'd have to save all the people.
Chris Pratt style.
100%. This is he's probably thinking about other girls, and I'm like,
No,
I'm gonna get all these people to safety from these
If
velociraptors.
you all only knew like what we actually think
We are
about.
fucked up, but simple.
Yeah.
Dude, I love those memes where it's like he's probably thinking about other women. And
Yes.
he's like thinking about fucking Legos or something.
Yeah. Or
Or
like, like women want to die, and it's like them in a bed surrounded by their family, and it's like men, and it's us in, powered armor fighting demons.
Dude, the shit that like I'll literally pan out scenarios like if there's like an apocalypse or something,
100%.
how it would protect the house.
Right.
Like, oh, I can't. They'll be expecting that on the roof. I need a ghillie suit.
Yeah.
I need to hide.
I'm gonna hand her a pistol and be like, here, if it's not me, if I don't jiggle the handle 4 times and knock on the door once, start blasting, because I'm gonna run to the room and I'm gonna put all of my gear on, everything that I own, and I'm gonna save the whole place. That's it. There's no other scenario.
I've thought through this several times. I was like, where I would
Save the last
go.
bullet for yourself.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you never know.
Right. It'll be ravaged over and over and over by a group of marauders from the nuclear wasteland.
Yeah, and I thought about like that we have the canals out here in Loxahatchee. I was like, there's no way that zombies would have to pile up.
Sure.
And then they could walk over the canals after they've piled up. There's enough bodies where they could walk over. But
Correct.
the canals will keep us safe for a while.
And it's interesting that I come up with these scenarios and give them to her when she can squat more than me. Lucky for you, I'm good with a gun.
That's one of my favorite things about you guys.
I love that she's so respectful.
Oh,
She's like, I could shit on him, but I'm
there
not
are
gonna.
so many
just chuckle.
ways that she could ruin me.
Yeah, but she doesn't.
This
Says
is
a lot
why,
about her.
right? She's got free healthcare.
Okay.
She's not risking it.
It always comes back. This comes back. Welcome to the podcast. What other questions you got, Kate? Come on. Oh, there's some in there. I'm tired of talking about you.
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
What
you
else
like
we got? What do we got? This is fun.
Do you guys think
I
that
should be a
there's...
recurring guest.
Do you guys think that there are specific roles that...
You can answer. I got to fill my stein up.
Will you get wine while you're in there? Yeah. Thank you. Do you think that there are specific roles that a man should play in a marriage?
We just touched on this. Definitely needs to be our protector, for sure. Like that's, to me, I mean, when I was a single mom, I had to handle it by myself, and it made me very anxious at times. So I'm like, what if those scenarios that play through my head? But now knowing, I mean, he's not always home. He's at the fire station at times. Just knowing that he has my back is really calmed me and soothed me in many ways.
So you mean physical protection?
Right. Like if someone were to break in the house, like he sleeps closest to the door. So if someone gets in the house, he is going to tend to that issue.
So you think about that kind of stuff?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Got you. What else? So protector. What else?
I do think that financially, like, I think all women would like to be taken care of in some ways. Like, we don't want to have to be like, because for me, I work full time. Full time for a hygienist is really 4 days. I've now backed off one day because of him. I had that luxury. So I was super stressed out working 4 days a week. I went to my doctor. I told him how I was very unhappy and I was getting burnt out. I've been doing this 16 years. And his answer was pretty much like, suck it up, buttercup. And I was like, okay, well, then I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to remove myself from my 4th day. And he's like, well, that's going to highly, affect our production. I'm like, my mental wellness is not okay right now. Like, I'm not thriving. And so I went and had a discussion with him and I was like, is this something that we could financially do? Can I take a step back that day and we'll be, okay? And he's like, absolutely. Whatever you need to do, I'll make it happen. So yeah. So for me, that was huge. Having that.
I can definitely relate with that. I like that. I mean, we've had similar conversations, mostly around you feeling okay, because you've always been well, obviously you were single, so you've been a business owner, like you've been for a long time operating as a sole provider for yourself, and then the idea that you didn't have to work 24/7 and like just be a produce was something that we had to navigate, and it took a lot of trust in the beginning for sure. Would you agree?
I think it's obviously like circumstantially a bit different. So historically I had dated professional athletes, guys who had it all, and I think when you're young and naive, you think that's the life that you want.
Right.
And so, unfortunately, that created a lot of power dynamics and control. And when I finally got out of that, I promised myself I would never need somebody again because I didn't want to feel like I couldn't leave because I had nothing.
You were trapped.
And so I made it my life's mission to just be fully independent. I will never need anybody. I will never ask for anything. I will make sure that I have everything that I need. That way, if I want to be with somebody, I want to be with them. There's
Correct.
no, okay, I can leverage this. It's transactional, whatever. No, like, I'm with you because I want you. I don't fucking need you. And so from that, when I met him, like, I will say a lot of things transpired for me that hit wounds that I didn't know that were there, but helped them heal in a lot of ways. And so, like, I hadn't thought about dreaming about what I could do or what I wanted to do or what I had desires or passions around. I just did what I needed to do. What do I need to do today to make sure that I'm okay? What do I need to do today to make sure I'm okay? Like, that's every day of my life for the last decade. And so with that, there's a lot of things that I had to learn to accept, right? Because if somebody gives you a gift and you're like, no, I can't take that from you. Like, I don't, like, no. Right. It's also kind of hurtful.
It's off-putting, right?
Yeah. And so I had to learn to just say thank you and accept things. And that was hard for me at first. And then, like, him knowing, because we spend obviously a lot of time talking about things, like, he knows what I'm passionate about. He knows what I think about. He knows what occupies my mind or the things that I really want to pursue, that I don't really let myself. And so when we talked about the lives that we wanted to have together, he's like, I just want you to wake up and be able to read a book if you want to read a book, or write if you want to write, or create podcasts, YouTube, like the things that I'm more interested in. And it took a lot. And obviously we do business together now. We have, different roles within the same industry, and we make it work together collectively for sure. But I think, and I don't want to speak for you around like what you want, desire, or think, but that for me has, like, letting go has been incredibly hard. Like, just transparently, it's been very,
that's
very
all
hard.
you ever knew based off of what you had to go through.
Yeah.
So that was what you basically built as your armor, as protection for you to just, persevere. And that's what you had to do.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry that you had to go through all of that. And that's what happened.
So kind.
But you guys were able to, like, as partners, I feel like you mirror each other and you heal portions of yourself that previously were wounds, and you're able to, like, heal your partner. I've noticed that a lot with Dev. There's a lot of things that he's healed within me as my partner.
I was going to ask you guys that if you've noticed since you've been together that certain things either came up as a result of being this deep with someone, or things that had healed as a result of that, things that you've worked through, stuff like that, because we've definitely noticed that.
She's been very supportive of me and the dog having a really close relationship.
The two of them, they are just thick as thieves.
Sherry Lee.
You were out of the room. You didn't get to answer.
What do you think a male's job is in a relationship?
Go
Okay,
on.
and then you can talk about what do you think a woman's job is.
Well,
Look at you, perk right up. Let me talk to women about women.
I'm like, this is so silly. Let me tell you. I think there are a million ways to answer that question, and I think it's going to be dependent on the relationship and the needs of the relationship. As a male figure, I think that you should make sure that your family is good even when you're not there. And by good, I mean financially stable, secure and safe, healthy, and that's really it, right? Like, she can take care of herself. She makes her own money. She does, she takes care of herself physically. She takes care of the little one. She takes care of my dog, thank God, when I'm not there. And
I keep the house running.
Right, yeah, it's a tough question. I could be like, yeah, the guy's got to be hard, tough. He's got to be able to fend off attackers and
protection.
Sure, I said that.
Mm-hmm.
I think, did I?
No.
Did I not?
In a roundabout way, I suppose.
Right, sure.
Well, I don't want to say clearly what role people should play. There's a million ways to answer this question.
Well, my point is with the million ways to answer the question is, like, I'm gone every third day for 24 hours and sometimes for 48 if I work an extra shift. So I need to make sure that the house is okay from marauders during the nuclear apocalypse if I'm not there. All right, so to, I guess, directly answer your question.
Thank you.
Men need to, and this is opinion, men need to provide, protect, secondary secure, teach, and just three good ones, I guess.
Teach what?
Them how to do the same thing.
Like the kids or like your wife?
The homestead.
Okay.
If I'm not there, somebody has to do it.
Got it.
What if I get killed in the marauding incident, Then what are you going to do?
I had a really bad response to that, but I'm not going to
Like,
I think it's...
I don't need my partner to be like, oh my God, I need somebody if you're gone.
Help me.
Right. Yeah.
like damsel in distress.
Correct. That's not what we strive for around here. Like, you have to be proficient in the things that I'm proficient in, but I don't need you to do it in place of me unless I'm gone.
Right. I want you to be capable.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you. Jesus Christ. Somebody help me. I've had too many.
Who's the damsel now?
I've had too much mead. What was your answer?
You hit the nail on the head.
That's not what I asked you.
It was
You
protection and
said
providing.
lots of lovely things about you.
I'm sure, because I can review it. I'm going to see it. Yeah, I'm going to see it.
You're going to love it.
It's going to play in my office in our home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're going to cry.
Nah. What do you think?
Okay.
I want both the criticism, constructively, and I want your opinion.
I don't disagree with anything that you said.
Okay.
I do think I think every couple, we can get into this.
Well,
every
it's
couple's
weird
different.
times that we live in these days, and I'm
Yeah,
sure
but
we're
like-
all in agreement with that.
Okay, I can say that. And also, I could counter with there are evolutionary drivers that cause us to behave in certain ways. Men
Sure.
are much more assertive, they're more aggressive, and they're more capable physically. And so, with that understanding, right, wrong, or indifferent, we can go into the gym and try to squat the same amount. I'm going to die. So, I don't expect.
Right. Full disclosure, she cannot squat more than me. I just said that.
I didn't even realize I set you up that way.
Please
I'm so
go
sorry.
Bad example, baby. Use a different one.
Stupid podcast. Counterpoint, indeed.
Anyways.
We
so
digress.
the puppy
Please
is so
continue,
cute.
Kate.
Anyways, so yeah, on the physical side, I think a man needs to be capable of being aggressive in a means of protection. I think that that's important. I just want to know that you're capable. Like, because no woman, right, wrong, or indifferent, wants to be with somebody they can walk all over. You don't respect a man like
Sure.
that. So I think that's important for the man and for the woman. I think provision is important, providing, being able to provide, having the skill set and capacity, right? Because a lot of women are attracted to men who have certain outcomes. And the reason for that is not because they have the thing, is because they're the type of man who's capable of creating those things. And so that gives women safety. Women need that, right, wrong, or indifferent. It's just natural to our nature. So that's what I would say from the men's side. And then I do think women are emotional creatures, and so we crave a lot of connection. How you connect is variable, but you can't be a Neanderthal so much so
Sure.
that you have like nothing to give me emotionally. I'm bored. So I think those things are important, in my opinion, about men. But you didn't answer. So
Well, and I agree that I'm also of the same mindset that supportive doesn't necessarily mean like financially. Like it needs to be emotionally supportive of your partner. You know, her likes, her dislikes. She's got to be heard. Otherwise, I'm going to create an enemy within my household. You know, like we're going to be at each other's odds, and that's not good. Like I need to appreciate the fact that she doesn't like this, or that she didn't agree with what I just said.
Correct.
You know, and we have to figure that out.
that's mature of you.
We
I would say
then-
most men can't do that.
Right. Because otherwise, in the house, we'll be at war instead of on the same team.
Sure.
Yeah. And I said to him very early, like, I want somebody who I could go to war with, which means you have to have my back. Even if we're going through shit where we're bickering or arguing or we disagree on stuff, like, that's fine. It will happen. But, like, at the end of the day, I can't feel safe if I don't know you have my back.
Right. I don't want you to join the Marauders.
Yeah.
You know, stay. This is your home.
Here's his blueprint plan.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you know, like Thunderdome is 2 go in, 1 goes. I need 2 go in and 2 to come out.
He has
you
an
know?
underground tunnel.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
get it.
This is where the food stores are.
So then, what do you think is the woman's role?
God, it's just this. I don't like these questions.
Why? Because they cause you to get into what your needs are as a man. Does that make
No,
you feel
well,
vulnerable?
like, you know, I know back in the day it was like make a sandwich and this and that, but like the things that I cannot physically get to, help. You know, I want support, and I don't mean financially. I want emotional support. You know, like we're gonna go through some shit, right? Like, or I'm going to. You know, I'm trying to run a business. You know, the profession that I'm in doesn't necessarily have good days all the time, you know, and I want to come home and I want to be supported in the fact that those are the things that I'm doing to help support my family. I want it reciprocated. You know?
So appreciation. So you want
Yeah, appreciation.
Appreciation is big.
Right. You know, I want you to hear me. I want to be able to talk to you and you be like, okay, cool. That sucks. That really sucks. I see why that was upsetting for you. What can I do? And whether I say this or I say nothing, just, you know, leaving me alone for an hour is supporting me. You know, let me deal with my shit. And then, you know, I'll come back and that's going to help me not download the last 24 hours of my day on you or the kid, you know, and make it completely unfair to my family on my end, right?
right.
Know that, look, you know, I know you want the 5,000 square foot, 5-bedroom house. You know, I'm just spitballing right now. You know, I know you want your dream house. I know you want the dream car. I want you to be able to travel and all these fun things that are accessory things in the world, you know. What's the word I'm looking for? Materialistic things, you know, but that we all enjoy and we're all victims of. But just know that I'm working to get there, you know. Stop
so
pressure.
understanding. You,
Right, yeah. I don't need the pressure. Just trust me that we'll get there together as a team, you know. But I need you to be on the team. I don't need you to be like pushing the one player to support.
These all sound
The
like
4 losers.
emotional desires.
Yeah,
right? I don't
I
whatever.
was going to say, this is like,
I'm on beer 4. Leave me alone.
I did not think you had that much depth. So I'm actually impressed. I think that's wonderful. I really do. I think a lot of men would struggle to say, I need you to be there for me. I need to be able to voice my stressors to you. And for you to just hold them. I don't actually need you to do anything. Even if it's give me an hour to go fuck around and watch Interstellar. Like, I need that time. I appreciate you sharing that because I don't think many men would actually voice that. I think they'd be like, I don't need you to do shit. Just like keep the house clean and shit. Like stupid stuff.
Yeah.
All right, Tyrone.
Yeah. I missed that motherfucker. God, we should have started this shit with grills in, both of us.
Whoa, Leroy. Goddamn.
Yeah,
Okay.
we digress.
Yeah,
Again.
no, I think that's great. And I also like that you talked about, I can't imagine, I've talked to him about this before, but like, I can't imagine the amount of pressure that you may feel, whether it's external or internal, around providing for, especially when you have somebody you love and you think deserves the world and you want to be able to give that to them. And it's like, there's also constraints in life that make that more difficult. I can't imagine what men go through who feel that way about their partner and want to be able to achieve those things. And I think if you don't have a supportive partner in that domain, it would make it a lot of suffering.
Well, this is something that you personally can relate to also, is that it's not just her that I have to figure out. There's also a 6-year-old involved and people that are attached to that. There's dad, there's grandma, there's 2 grandmas, there's a bunch of people that have to be like, okay, yeah, he's a good one for her. He's a good one in this fit, instead of.
You're like waiting for the approval.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then you have to constantly keep it,
Yeah.
You know how long it takes to build relationships. It takes a fraction to completely ruin it.
Yeah.
So you got to be Johnny on the spot with everything that is correct. You have to raise him the right way, but also the way that they want you to raise him, and also the way that you hope you can raise him, because you're the bonus portion of it. You're not the actual.
And I can say, like, for me, the conversations we had around that early was like, I will be whatever he needs me to be to him.
Right.
I'm not going to try to be mom. I'm not going to discipline him because I don't think that's my job. I will support you with whatever decision you make. Like, if you say no to that, I'm not going to be like, you asked me and I'm not going to say yes.
Right.
Like, I support you in that way, but I also understand, right, wrong, or indifferent, I'm not his mom. And she has a certain way that she probably interacts with him, that she raises him, the things that she wants for him, and that's his mom. I have nothing but positive, good faith in that domain. And so my job is to make sure that I'm there when he needs me, that I support him where he needs my support, that I play with him, that I give him attention when he needs it, and that I, care for him in ways that he feels safe with me doing so. Outside of that, even when it comes to like relationships and external stuff, like I always will own my flaws and my shortcomings, or say, I don't know, or this makes me nervous. But I can only be who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I don't try to posture, I'm very conscious of that, because I don't want to put on a face that inevitably comes off. And so it's just like, this is who I am. This is what I value. This is, what I aim to be here. This is how I feel about your son or otherwise. And, if you have opinions, I'm happy to hear them.
And it's constantly challenging.
It's,
Like,
I
it feels
think-
good. Like, it's exciting and it's fun and it's rewarding.
Mhm.
But because it genetically is not our child, it is a different dynamic, and it will always be, like I love the little one, and I love like the relationship that we've built and the things that we do together, but it's always going to be different and secondary to dad.
Yes.
And you have to understand that, and you have to respect that. And no matter how much biological mom wants you to be on that level, you physically will never be.
Yeah. And I had to think about that a lot. So there was a long period of time we took before I met Denver, because one, I knew that the moment that I introduced myself to this child, that I could not have any question marks about our relationship. That's not fair to him. And it is my responsibility to make sure I'm there.
Right.
And the same for him. And he was very, very much like, I want to be sure that I'm in the right space for you to meet my son. And so we were very, very respectful and open about those conversations. But insofar as like that dynamic, I am very, very grateful for that child. And I do my very best, but I also have, I would say the most challenging moments are moments where like we go out together and people think I'm his mom. And it's like, I don't want to sit there and correct you and be like, no, I'm
Right.
not his mom. I'm Kait. So
Right,
like,
yeah.
we
happened
go,
with TSA.
I was going to say, and that's like the
Oh,
most
I've had
uncomfortable
that happen
thing,
before.
because they're like, Denver, who is that to you? And he's like he's pointing at me, and I'm like,
Right.
I'm not mom. So they want him to say mom.
And TSA's like, you're stealing this kid.
Yeah, they're
Where are
like,
you taking this
who
fucking
is that
kid?
lady to you? And I'm like, Den, who's that? And he's like, Dad. And so like that's
Columbia?
easier.
Are you guys going to Columbia? Is this where this kid's going?
Those are moments I feel for him, because he's like, I don't know what she is to
Right,
me.
yeah.
Like that's Kait.
And now he sounds like he's being coerced, like,
Yeah.
like, fuck.
Yeah. And so like those are the moments where I feel uncomfortable. Like one day we were at the park, and there was like a bouncy house or something, and he started throwing up. And so like I'm like rubbing his back or whatever, and this lady runs over and is like, here's water for your son. And I'm not gonna be like, I'm not gonna entertain that.
Thank
But
you
like
so much.
little moments like that where I'm like, ugh, like it kind of hurts my heart, but I
Yeah.
also
You can't
accept
be like,
and like
no.
live in the space of my own boundary, But I would say personally, those moments are probably the hardest
Sure.
for me because it's like that feeling of like I adore this child, and also I have to remember like he's not my son. And that for me, as far as like a personal struggle, is probably the hardest. But being my relationship with him is wonderful, and I'm very grateful for it. But I ride that line of making sure that I support him and let him lead a lot of the decisions,
Right.
certainly in discipline or what he needs, what he wants him to do. And I'm just here when he needs me.
Well,
and
I feel like it's frustrating sometimes too, right? Because you, like me personally, I obviously can't speak for you, but me personally, like I will do a discipline of some sort, and she'll correct it. I'm like, I thought that was right. I thought this was what we were supposed, and then I have to like,
see, I
gotta
rule.
regroup and shit.
I don't discipline. I genuinely do not think that's my job. And here's the
I don't physically discipline, but I'll be like, hey man, stop being an asshole to mom. That type of shit.
But
Not
I
in that
will
context,
say,
but-
I think it's a little bit different as a stepmom versus a stepdad.
correct.
I was going to say
So
that.
for children, there's an alpha male in the house.
Mhm.
They're more assertive, part of their role, right? So there's a lot of times where I can say to my son, do this, do that, and I'm asking over and over and over again. I'm trying to do the gentle parenting route, and then I probably get to like the 7th or 8th time, and he'll be like, "Did you hear your mom?" And it's like, whoop.
Yeah.
He's
like-
just whatever he's in. Like I asked so nicely, so many times with patience, made sure I said his name so I had his attention. It was like nothing. But the man in the house says something, and it's like all of a sudden he's brought back to reality, and then immediately does what needs.
One, I choose not to. I don't think that's my role. But two, I don't need to. I do think it's interesting the other way around because I've thought about this many times. Like insofar as if we've played this kind of thought game out, if I had the child and he was with me, like what would that look like, right? So I think a man's job in general is to lead the household. This is another role that I think men play.
Sure.
But I think with that, that's kind of the authority stroke, and navigating that as a step parent, I have no idea how you do it or what that would look like. I'm sure you've had many conversations around, what you would hope for that to look like or what is acceptable, obviously, and what is not.
I mean, I can say only for myself, like what you're doing for him is probably the equivalent to what Logan's stepmom is doing. And to me, I am happy. That would make my heart happy. So I feel like there's nothing, critical in any manner that where you're lacking per se.
I think it's hard too because you never want to do it wrong.
Right.
And I think it's just making sure that those boundaries are there that I respect. And it's just kind of like walking that line of doing the best that I can and also not forgetting kind of the role that I play in that.
Right. And what is the relationship there? Because I know like with my son's stepmother, I love her and we're very close. So
Excuse me.
is this good timing?
Mr.
I'll let
Wine
Mav
Man.
answer that.
Mr. Wine Man.
Gracias, señor.
Thank you, Mr. Wine Fairy Man.
Do you feel like there's more like boundaries that need to be made? And
I'll be honest with you, we don't talk about a lot. We talk about Denver. We communicate about him. We didn't have the best end to our relationship, and it's there have been challenging times. We just communicate the minimum that's needed to support Denver with school, or if he has to go to the doctor or anything like that, and we just keep it strictly to that. She has not met her yet, so it's just kind of civil, I guess I would say. I haven't met her partner either. I respect that, and we just communicate as needed for him.
And this is where I love what you did with Dev, because like
just
when
gonna
we
ask that.
first got together, I was like, I really like right, wrong, or indifferent. It doesn't have to be like we're friends. I don't need her to like me I was like, but if I'm going to be around her son, I want to be able to speak to her. Heaven forbid I'm alone with Denver because he has to go out for something and something happens. And I need to call her.
Right.
I don't have her number. She doesn't talk to me. So like what I would hate for that to happen. I don't think that's any type of reality that would happen acutely or in the short term. But like my thing with it around that was, if I'm going to be around your child, if that was my son or my child,
right,
I would want to know who my child is around.
absolutely.
And so like my hope was that I would, again, she doesn't have to like me and I don't, need for us to be, friends. At the same time though, it would be nice if there was respect there insofar as like, if something were urgent or I need to discuss something with you, that we had that line of communication. Unfortunately, that was not anything at the time when I brought that to his attention, as far as like, I would really like for this to not be weird. Like she knows I exist, but like there's no line there. That was just not something she was interested in. And so there's nothing I can do about that.
Got it. Because I think that would be very helpful for you to feel like less like so restricted, and like there might be more leniency in certain situations.
Yeah, because again, my personal biggest fear is like, if something were to happen, he's not there for whatever reason, I can't get a hold of him. Let's say he's on a flight or something to go somewhere to a conference or something. I'm with Denver and, something happens. It's like, I can't get a hold of him. I don't have any contact with her. And I am, probably freaking out or driving to the, I don't know, my worst case scenario, like catastrophizing situations in my brain. But I'm like, I don't have that. And so my hope is eventually maybe that will happen. Because I think the intention, obviously for me, I know the intention behind that is all positive, and for him.
I think that would be best for all parties involved, honestly, because it's helped us tremendously.
Can everybody just take a pause for a minute? Look at this creature.
He's so perfect.
Look
Hello.
at him on the
so well behaved.
I can't wait to close up of this.
Boy.
Look at him.
Look at that boy.
Look at that puppy.
Put that in the intro, Dev. Just puppy highlights.
Oh, don't.
Oh, here we go.
No.
Oh, is he humping?
He was trying.
Just
He was trying to assert his
horny
dominance.
boy. Yeah.
Just asserting his dominance.
What fun stuff can we talk about briefly for 15
Lighten the
minutes?
mood for a
Fun for you?
moment.
What?
This isn't fun for you?
Yeah, it is.
Oh.
It all is. It's fun because I'm cilantro.
So you guys have a 2-2-3 still, correct? Or has it changed?
3-1-3.
3-1-3. How does that work?
So Dad has him Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I have him Monday. Dad has him Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then it flips. I have him Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Dad has him Monday. I have him Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It flips. So every other weekend.
Huh.
My face was exactly what Kate's face was when I first tried to figure it all out.
You're literally going to put a split screen with my face on it as this
Yeah,
part plays
yes.
because you're editing it.
Literally, like if it's not
I'm just like, what is happening?
if it's not in the phone calendar, we share like 4 different calendars, one for social, one for work, and then they'll swap shifts. Like they'll do like one person will go on vacation or we'll go on vacation, and it's just
It's every
they
year.
gotta
Like
pay each other back the swaps, and it's
we flip like this year. I had him Christmas Day, so Dad had him Christmas Eve, Christmas morning. So then next year I'll have him Christmas Eve, Christmas. Yeah, that way it's fair.
This is the first year I've had Christmas. It was wonderful.
Right.
That's crazy. That's awesome though.
Yeah, no, we were just
Getting to see that magic in his eyes.
yeah.
And
And you get the sled and the snow in Vermont. We went to
Oh, that's right.
place.
Yeah,
Dude, we need to go to Colorado one year, all of us, and everybody.
See, normally I would have never said that's something I want to do, but now that I've sledded in the snow and I understand how if you have enough layers on, you don't get cold or warm.
Yes.
It feels amazing.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's
dude,
the best.
I want to do snow sports now.
We're going. So. All right, she is snowboard master, and I didn't know anything about it. But I used to surf, and I tried to surf, but I wakeboarded and skateboarded, all this stuff, and I was like, I'll be fine at it. I ate shit on that mountain for 2 days.
That'd be me.
Did you break your tailbone?
No.
I warned him beforehand.
I remember when I first tried to learn to snowboard because I think snowboarding looks so cool.
It's amazing.
You look like a badass. I already know.
The best.
I wanted to learn to do it so bad. My brother could snowboard. And so I had him take me to the mountain, obviously. Stop biting me. And I fell down the bunny hill. I don't know how many
What
times.
is front flipped the whole way?
I broke my tailbone. It hurt so bad.
I too did the same thing when you're first learning. What did I specifically tell you? I said, it doesn't matter how athletic you are. I said, you're going to have to put your ego in the locker before you come out here to snowboard because you're going to eat shit over and over and over again.
I wanted to quit so bad.
Yeah.
And I stuck it out and I ended up
loving it.
Obsessed with it. So now we go 2 and 3 times a year.
Yeah. See, I've always wanted to do it. I only tried
come
that
on.
one time.
Oh, you got to go.
I need like a butt pad though.
That's fine.
They actually have butt pads and
Yeah,
like
they make that
wrist braces. Like when I was
where'd
first
you go
learning.
the first time?
Literally the bunny hill on the mountain.
No,
which
what
is
mountain?
kind of
Where
big.
though? What state?
Mount Scottney. It's where I'm from, Vermont.
Oh, see, no. So
Vermont's known to be
all
icy.
ice.
It was,
which is harder.
which is why I broke my tailbone.
Yes.
100%. It's like concrete. So like we went, I got lucky. My very first day, it was
Fresh pow.
dumping snow. It was great. And just like, I mean, like it was awesome. It was ideal for learning how to snowboard. And every time I fell, it wasn't terrible because it was like falling out on a plush love
Down
sack.
comforter.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Wow.
When I was first learning, because I'm a dental hygienist, I wore wrist braces because what happens when you go to fall, you go to brace yourself, right? And I was so concerned that like, what if I break my money makers, right? I can't be out 2 months, you know? So that's typical in the beginning. We have to get you back out there on the mountain.
I was just pissed.
I'm
spitting,
excited.
Cursing.
That would be so fun.
Fuck this. This is stupid. And then like you get through that first couple days, you have a couple beers, some warm food at the end of the hill, and you're like, all right, it's cool. Then the first time you like make it all the way down the mountain. I mean, granted, you're just heeling it and just
Plowing through.
plowing snow, but you get through all that, and you're like, this is the greatest ever. I want to do this every single year, and we do.
I run warm, and like when we CrossFit, there's no AC, so it's like I want to go somewhere where I can be athletic and not be profusively sweating.
Yeah.
And it's like, I love it because it's like we can go run after run after run. And it's just like so refreshing in the crisp air. And
Yeah, you go
it's
down,
just so wonderful.
have a beer, some chicken tendies, go back up the lift, go back down, have another beer. It's perfect. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
This podcast
we'll
is
have
gonna
to do it.
The audience is gonna think I'm a raging alcoholic.
No.
I don't drink that much. You guys never drink.
No, we don't. We don't.
We don't anymore.
You and I, is that still your first?
No, he came over and refilled.
Mm-hmm.
Did you
The
do mine as
glass.
well?
Mm-mm.
Matt
Yeah.
did earlier though.
Okay.
Yeah, he walked around giving refills.
Get your little cinnamon loaf, your little banana bread.
My little.
Oh, he's chewing the cord.
Oh,
Nope, don't do that. Bad habit.
who dare you,
Okay.
Billy?
All right. Well, I'm gonna pee as well.
Context is important.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
We were talking about words that you can say in some contexts, but not others.
And whore is one of them.
Pussy,
No.
pussy's the one we
Yeah,
started.
see, I
with,
can't even say it.
right?
I don't like it.
Yeah, right. It's like I could be like, Dev, you pussy, you won't jump off.
That's
the-
different.
the
Feels different.
fucking
Feels
the
different.
thing, but it's like we won't refer to the female anatomy.
Not when I'm like, yeah, bro, cool party. Let's get some pussy out. You
Yeah.
know, like that makes me
we grew
uncomfortable.
out of that. Yeah, we're not 18.
Nope.
But then also some context where we'll say it like in the moment, in the midst, if you will, in the
I can say like slanging dick. Like that's cool. Like I'm gonna go. We're gonna go to this party. We slang some dick around this bitch.
that sounds
Is he trying to be like Riz? Like, are you just trying to say like cool things?
Yeah, like it slaps.
What is happening right now?
You know, it slaps.
Okay. No. You
Yeah, but
can't
just like
shoot
words
that.
you can say out of context. But it's perfectly fine in some.
The highlight reel for this one is gonna be fucking crazy.
Yeah,
Fucking bananas, man.
a lot of good random quips and such.
What are we gonna talk about? We're gonna plug Slay. We haven't plugged Slay yet.
Yeah, Slay's awesome. Fix your hormones and shit.
What's interesting is
Amen.
my wife is currently on protocol,
Yes.
and
Thriving.
I'm not. I mean, I guess I am. I am a paid. Well, no. I mean, you're not. You don't get anything from it. You know, you enjoy it. Speak to your experience with it so far, on a realistic note.
So, I was going through some lady changes this year. I turned 40, and very lethargic, very ragey. I mean, I'm always fiery, but it was more so than I could handle.
I couldn't agree more.
Just not sleeping well at night. Just felt off, and it's, you know, it was so frustrating because I started doing my blood work and they're like, well, everything's within range. And I'm like, well, that's great that you
You're
think
normal.
everything's normal.
That's literally
but
the video you posted today.
Yeah.
I don't feel normal. Like, this isn't my normal. Especially in the gym, it's like I was killing it for so long, and I just got to a point where it's like just lagging and just not myself. So I started about a month ago, give or take, and we tweaked some things, and now I'm right back at it, baby. In all seriousness, I'm very happy. I'm sleeping so good at night. I'm not as tired. At the gym, I feel like I have more energy. I'm able to hit all my lifts. I'm not nearly as ragey. Like, things don't just set me off, like road rage. Like, come on, I have a kid in the car. Like, what is going on? And now I'm just kind of like, more passive. Like, I just feel like I used to feel.
That's badass. That's badass. God, like, it's funny that we did post that video today, but it's just like we hear over and over and over again. Like, I feel like trash. So I asked for lab work. They won't do the lab work. They asked me why. And I'm like, well, because I feel the way that I feel. Mm-hmm. And they'll say something like, there's so many different scenarios, but a lot of them will say like, well, your lab work, your hormones fluctuate, so we don't need to do your lab work. It's not important. Or, oh, this is just a part of life. You're going into perimenopause, and this is just life now, so you should just get used to this state of being. Or they'll say something like, well, you don't need that. It's just like, and most people are none the wiser. They're the doctor. They know what they're talking about. Of course, I should listen to the doctor. This is the authority. And then they just remain symptomatic. There's a lot of different roads people go down, but it's just like, after hearing 1,000 of those stories, I was just like, dude, we gotta find a way to make this quality care available to women, telemed style. So I'm just thrilled that you're already feeling better.
Absolutely. And, to the point of what you were saying about, hormones fluctuate. Okay, even more the reason to do blood work so often, so we can see the fluctuations and what your baseline is, where you are, and what type of phase in your menstruation. I mean, it's silly the way that we go about dealing with women and hormones.
It is, yeah, and to your point, it's like most of the data, most of the research was on men for a long time. And what infuriates me is like, if you go to the doctor as a male and you're like, hey man, I got erectile dysfunction, I have low energy. Before you're done talking, he's writing a script for testosterone. And it's that easy for men. Women have to jump through a million hoops to even be listened to, get a referral, or to get lab work. You have to demand it. It's just not fair. And women's hormones are more complex. You have 5 potential hormones or more that can be depleted going into perimenopause and menopause, whereas men, it's just one. Just the one. And you replenish it and it fixes everything. Whereas women, it's like, okay, let's look at DHEA, look at progesterone, let's look at thyroid, testosterone.
A lot of moving parts.
IGF-1. Yeah, it's like there's so many, and either one can be depleted, and then maybe 3 depleted, 2 depleted, and then it impacts the other one. So I'm grateful to be able to do what we do. I think it's a huge opportunity to provide a quality care to women that need it, and have been unfortunately ignored, invalidated, and just completely dismissed by people for years. It sucks. I hear a lot of stories, especially women in menopause, who are just like, my life is hell. Like, and this changed very quickly. My life is hell. I don't feel like doing the thing. I know what I need to do, but I don't feel like doing it because I have no energy. I'm not sleeping.
Right.
And then the doctor's just like, well, how about an antidepressant? That'll fix you.
I want to be a zombie. That sounds like fun. But thank you for being our sounding board, and listening and validating you. Yeah, there actually X, Y, and Z is going on. Let's fix that. So thank you.
What is interesting, like when I first met you, I was like a douchebag, like hitting the button, and I was like,
he always says this,
always, every single time. And the more that we interacted and got along, and hung out, I was like, well, this is clearly not what I thought I was, getting myself into as a friend, and it's been cool because like expanding upon like when I first met you to now, it's just it's kind of like Kate's experience minus the intimacy, and that's stereotypical of somebody that's not going to make a good partner or a good friend.
Narcissist.
Overall. Right.
Yeah. No,
as I drink from a Viking cup filled with beer.
No, I get it. Like it's we were talking earlier about like what a man's role is in a relationship or what it should be, what we believe it should be. And I think it's a lot of it is just being good with yourself and knowing who you are, being completely who you are and being completely okay with that. I struggled with that for a long time. I would contort myself to be whatever someone was attracted to or what someone
I think
wanted.
we're all guilty of that at some point in our lives, you know?
And I struggled with it hardcore, and I was everything was a facade. It was just like, well, I'll just be whatever someone needs me to be attractive. But obviously that doesn't pan out long term. And it's really cool to finally be in a place where I know who I am. I show up every day as I am. I'm okay with that. And I don't have to contort or change or be anything like today, for instance. Like I was just like jamming out in the car to the most ridiculous music.
Same. This is weird. I was like, you might like this. And she's like, no, I'm not going to like it. I'm like, hold on, give it a chance. I was like, we can turn it off if you don't like it. And she's like, I'm not going to like it. I'm like, all right, fine. I'll play it anyways, though.
I asked her the same thing. I was like, what do you think? Do you like this? She was like, she was pretty much just in a state of like acceptance. Right. She's like, do what you need to do.
I was like, why don't you like this Nordic melodic? Why don't you like this?
On the way to the gym, I wasn't going to screw up your vibe. I was like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Dude, I was fun. I went on a roll, dude. I listened to like 10 songs in a row. It was like 3 6 Mafia, Rob Zombie,
Well, you getting a vibe.
Linkin Park.
Yeah, see, see, you have. I appreciate that you have a refined palate as well.
I'm eclectic. Yeah.
Right. Well,
3 6 Mafia.
well, I'm like, why don't you like this melodic Nordic death metal? This is stupid. How did we get married?
And we're in a car, closed space, windows up together, and it's just raging out, screaming. And I'm like,
She turned it down, and I slapped her hand.
I said, you might have the tinnitus. I don't. I can hear this fully.
Right.
We need to bring it down a notch.
Fucking hearing loss.
You're not impressed? I know every word of this song.
Yeah, you listen to this screamy dude from Italy.
So yeah, I think no, it's just I appreciate what you said, man. I like it's not that I like to be a stereotype breaker, but I like that who I am as somebody who is you perceive as genuine and somebody who's just myself.
Well, it's interesting that what a male's role in a relationship doesn't necessarily have to translate over to an intimate relationship. It could be a friendship, right? You know, like what is your role as a like to your boy, you know, like, are you going to do the right thing? You'd be like, yeah, good shit, dog. You fucked that chick, you know, whatever. Or are you going to be like, hey man, that was absolutely inappropriate. Like, you know, or if you see somebody kind of dancing that line, are you going to be like, bro, are you going to give the best friend speech and be like, dude, you have an awesome chick at home. Stop fucking around.
That is so true.
That is so, and I think that's, you know, women being friends as well.
Sure, absolutely.
But I think I will say, growing up in athletics and playing in those arenas and being around those types of men who you would perceive as like the ones of status that get all the girls, they allow those things to happen.
Correct.
And so it's like the fact that you even track your mind to be like, no, my role as a friend is to be a man of integrity and align that with my values and the commitments that you've made, that I know you've made. I'm going to hold you responsible for those things. I think that is incredible to hear, because I will tell you, again, my lived experience, that's not everybody's experience, but that's not normal.
Correct.
It's not.
Well, like, you know, you came from, like, your original career is alpha dominated, right? You know, and like, you know, I had somebody at work that was an officer say something hilarious, but it makes sense. You are either an NPC, a non-playable character, or you're the main character.
She just recently learned what NPCs are.
You are either or in your own life. You know, you do not want to be the NPC of your own life. An NPC to me is somebody that, you know, really pushes for personal gain, doesn't care about anybody themselves. And like, I'm a victim of being in that spot, right? Like, I did everything to benefit my own gain, my own self-worth, you know, like, I mean, dude, you talk about this shit on your podcast all the time, and you personally, like, you go through some dark stuff sometimes. Some people more than you, some people less than you, but like, you know, it's you can't quantify that based on your own experiences and their own experiences. But dude, if you wake up every day and you're like, yesterday sucked, but I'm going to try and figure it out today, then I think that's a win, you know?
I think that's interesting, because when I think of like playable character. I think if somebody who does not have strong convictions, does not have strong values, does not have strong character, and so like you will weave and mold yourself to whatever opportunity meets your needs.
What's
at that
popular?
time.
Let me do that.
Yes,
Right, whatever gets
correct.
me
You
noticed,
conform.
validated.
You're conforming.
Yeah.
You're just letting your own life roll you over. You're just going through the motions and hoping that something cool happens to you. And that is just not, like I wake up every morning and I say my manifestations and my convictions, and this is how I want the day to go, and I'm going to smash this shit and I'm going to do it and blah, blah, blah. But that's my own personal thing for myself. Like, that's not like the universe is going to just shoot this light on me and everything's going to be awesome and I'm going to be a millionaire tomorrow. But, it at least gives me some type of an energy to build upon for the rest of that day from 5 a.m. till whenever I go to sleep.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I like that. I used to wake up in the morning and ask myself what today would have to look like in order for it to be satisfying. to me.
right. You're going to smash it or you're not going to smash it.
Yeah, and then it's like your mind's already tracking on doing shit and getting it done.
Yeah.
And that helped me a lot.
If you
in
wake up
moments.
shitty and you don't do anything to counteract that, there's a good possibility that it's going to stay shitty. And don't get me wrong, there are things that can happen. Like you could wake up and like, holy shit, you get a phone call and your lifelong friend has passed away, or, like your dog runs away and gets hit by a car. Like there's all kinds of fucked up shit that could happen. But like, there's that top 10 percentile or 5% or whatever the statistic is that like you have to figure it out.
Yeah, that's kind of like, now what?
Yeah. And there's going to be, and now after this entire discussion, there are people that rely on us and depend on us no matter what, when it's fucked up to like, I will have a horrible day at work, but I still have to go home the next morning and everybody's like, hey, Dev, hey, oh my God, is your home? Oh my God. The little one, her, the dog, like I have to feed all three of these people at some point. I have to make sure they're happy. I have to make sure that I'm not a complete asshole to them. I can't download all my shit onto them. So how do you navigate that? How do you figure it out? And that's my own personal circumstance, but like you could have your whole business could fold and you're going to wake up in the morning and what are you going to do?
Don't you put that in the universe?
Well,
Well, I think, like, to be fair, it's really important to recognize that, like, right, wrong, and different for me, I think that everything in life is pretty finite. And so, like, when things are really, really well, I don't get consumed by them because I know that inevitably there will be a valley that I have to navigate, right? And so when
Right.
things are shitty, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to feed into that negativity because inevitably I will come out of it. And so it's like, for me, I've always tried to ride the midline of any experience that I'm in because it's like not permanent. Nothing is permanent. And so recognizing that gives me a lot of peace, even in the midst of a lot of chaos. And then being able to let go of things when I'm not in that space. So before moving here, like I had to get a 2-bedroom because I needed a space to work and feel the stress of work and all the demands I had on my plate and like the things I needed to accomplish that day. But when I walked out of the office and shut the lights off and closed the door, like I could just rest. But whereas before I was in a 1-bedroom.
Right.
And so it was like my work was my kitchen and my bedroom and it was like all in one place. And so I could never
Inescapable.
chill. I
Yeah.
could never chill. And I knew that wasn't good for me long term. And so just being able to close the door and put it down is something that I've had to learn how to do over time. But insofar as like having somebody in my life now, like his demeanor, right, wrong, or indifferent, his emotional state, his stress, like I pick up on it. And of course we work together. So it's like when that happens, I will try to be as supportive as I can, but I also have this itch that I'm learning to tame as far as like I need to jump in and fix it. I need to like get in there and do the thing because if it alleviates his stress, like that's good, right? But sometimes that's not needed of me. And so like kind of learning that role in this relationship with our business has been enlightening to say the least. But
you alluded to that earlier. It was like, I think a lot of times it's kind of purported as a stereotype for men to be the fixers. It's like
Right.
women are the ones who need someone to just listen and feel with them and validate, etc.
Emotional support.
A lot of times men need the same, right,
Sure.
wrong, or indifferent, and we don't want someone to fix either. It's just like, I'm pissed off about this. I just need to be pissed off about it. I'm going to fix it myself. It's a Rubik's Cube that I'm going to put together myself.
Right.
And I'd love your support, but I don't need you to do Rubik's Cube. I'm going to figure it out myself. And so I think that's just something that goes overlooked, and maybe sometimes men don't know how to say that, but that's the thing. I oftentimes do not need a solution. I just need to feel for a while or
Right.
work through it, and then I'm good.
Right.
But also, sometimes you need to let people just feel their feelings.
Right. Like I'll come home again and, whatever the reason. And we're all a victim of this, of not being open and upfront with saying, hey, I just need an hour to myself, please. Just let me be. Let me figure this shit out in my head. Let me chill. Let me find some type of, outlet or grace. And if I need help, that also takes another type of
asking for help,
understanding. Right.
Yeah.
It's tough. And this is where we are at, I guess at any age, but like, it's very important that you and the person, this is a good way to identify that your partner is the one that you need to be with, is that they understand these things, they can communicate this stuff to you, and then they can understand it once it's communicated. Like if I come home and I'm like, I just, and you're trying to just go through the motions without explaining why you are in a shitty mood. And then she's like, hey, why are you being so grumpy? And I'm like, I'm fine.
I think what I usually say is, why are you being so spicy?
Yeah.
Are you tired? Did you have multiple calls after midnight?
Spicy.
Right. And I'll be like,
you need a nap.
Yeah, this sucked. And just give me, an hour, and I'll go put YouTube on. I'll find my, happy place, and I'll come back out and be like, thank you, and I'm cool.
Explain, how do we explain the nothing place that I feel like men in particular need, but it's very hard for women to understand this concept of having nothing in your brain.
I'll try to explain it to the best of my abilities while he's gone. So he talks about it all the time, that a lot of times he's on shift for 24, 48 hours. In that time, he is on demand, on call that entire time. So he doesn't really have any me time for 2 days straight at times. And then it's like he's now supposed to come home to a family that also missed him for the last 48 hours and wants him to be present. So I've understood that if I'm like, hey, you've been gone for 2 days, we need your attention, we need your focus. I've learned that I don't get 100% Devin. I get crumbs, and I want the whole fucking cake.
Yep.
So I've learned that he needs to have time where he just can decompress and just do nothing. And that way it gets him back to being him. So when he comes out of that office, he's now 100% Devin, and now I'm getting the whole cake.
Yeah, Mav, I would say he's either gonna play guitar or play video games. Most of the time when he needs just like a moment to breathe, like he'll go out on the back porch and just like play guitar. Sometimes I go out there and just sit with him, but like we don't have to talk. But I get that. For me, it's like I feel more peace by trying to fix a problem. So like I will sit there and like create something, find something to fix. Like that's my probably dark, like bad trait, I would say. It's just like when I feel anxious or overwhelmed, I feel like there's a problem I need to solve. I need to figure out how to solve it, and I will do that until I either fall asleep doing it, or I just get fixated on.
I feel like that's a quality that Devin also possesses. And I'd made the comment about letting people feel their feelings, because it was something that came up in therapy where he feels like, I need to make you happy. And I keep telling him over and over again, I make me happy. You are not going to make me happy. And sometimes I can have a bad day at work. And when I come home, if I'm in a pissy mood, it's because of work. It's not anything that you lack to do as my partner. I need to figure out what I need to do, take my minute, go for a walk, whatever it is. But I need to make me happy. But he wants to fix it because he's a man. He wants to have a resolution from the problem, right?
Yeah.
Like,
it's tough for men.
I was gonna say, I feel like I was gonna ask him this when he was in there, but like, how important is her happiness to you? Because I find like he asks me regularly. I don't even know if he's aware of it, but like, are you happy? Are you happy? I just want you to be happy.
That's our barometer
and
for how well we're doing.
But I literally sent him a meme the other day, like, that said something like, why are you in a bad mood? And it's like, when my husband asked me, why are you in a bad mood, when I'm not in a bad mood, but now I am in a bad mood because he asked me why I was in a bad mood.
Well, and like,
and that's the same thing, like, are you happy? Same thing.
And sometimes for me, it's like, I have my own issues. Like, I think we all do. But there are certain things that, like, I might fixate on, or that might hit a nerve in me, or like things that cause me to feel things I don't want to feel. And I'm very honest about the fact that like I don't have the best relationship with my emotions. And so like usually I just get quiet because I'm like, I'm trying to process whatever the fuck is going on because I don't like it. And so when I get in that state, he assumes something is wrong, or that he's done something, or that I'm upset with him. And I'm not, and I will say, I'm not upset with you. I'm not angry. I'm genuine. I'm not mad.
Right.
But I am trying to resolve what's going on inside of me. However, to his kind of defense, if I'm going to do that, I do kind of get recluse in that. Like, I am trying to find some resolve within myself around what I'm experiencing. And that might be that I am not like super happy in the moment or super affectionate or super like bubbly and outgoing and communicative. Right. And that obviously impacts, you know, what he experiences from me. And so like, that's the hard line that I ride, is like, I'm trying to honor what the fuck is going on inside me, because I could compartmentalize this, but it will come out later. And I prefer that doesn't happen.
Right.
However, I also understand that like I'm being a little bit more quiet, personally involved with myself, trying to figure out in my mind what's going on. And that impacts how I am towards you. And I don't know how anybody reconciles that other than try to communicate. Like, I'm not upset with you. I'm not mad. Right. You didn't do anything. I'm good. I just need to sit with this for a minute.
Feel your feelings.
Yeah. And which is so annoying. I understand feelings. Obviously, I've had to study them and like their purpose and all this stuff. But like sometimes they're a bitch. And I would prefer sometimes not to feel negative ones. Positive ones are fun.
Right.
Negative ones, not so much.
We're only human.
Yeah, the happiness is such a barometer for us.
How important is her happiness to you?
Oh, it's number one.
Yeah.
Because look, I absolutely loathe the phrase "happy wife, happy life," because that insinuates that you are going to just discard any of her actual concerns, just pay her off so that your life is easy and simple. Ew. It's right. In my humble opinion, once again, if her needs are met, and needs meaning emotionally before physically, because I think that's arguably more important.
A requirement for women.
Correct. Then yeah, everything will be easier. You know, if my partner is happy and her needs are being met, that's literally the goal of the other partner.
Well, I think.
But whose job is it to make someone happy?
Their own. Okay. You know, but if I'm doing things to go against that grain, then what good am I as the other side of that, you know?
So I think it's a
delicate dance.
Well, I don't think it's either or. I think it's both.
Sure.
Right? Because the way that he treats you makes you feel peace and safety and security in your life, which is important. Like the stability in the foundation of that relationship gives you solace because it's home. If home is on rocky grounds because of things that he is or isn't doing, then that's going to cause more agitation internally because you feel unsettled. And so like that is valid. Also, the part of like the things that I need to do for me are things I need to do for me, and I cannot put it on you to make that void inside of me solid. So I don't think it's one or the other. I do think it's both. And so like regarding what you said too around the needs being met, we've had this conversation, but I very strongly believe, like if I'm convicted about certain things, I'm convicted about this. His needs are my responsibility. Like no matter what they are, I am with this person in perpetuity in my mind. And so it's like anything that he needs from me, I will do. It's not about how I feel. It's not about I'm in the mood. It's like, you need this from me. I'm going to do that for you.
Right, and that's legitimate needs, not like dinner and laundry. Like that's like actual.
But there are days where like, I will say at the beginning of our relationship, he made every meal all day, every day for me. And I will say in my own defense, like, I didn't know my way around here. I didn't know what role I was playing.
But he also enjoyed it, you know?
Yeah, no, I think he did that because he obviously cared. And like initially in our relationship, I also worked a ton. So like I was not going to leave my desk and, you know, he would nourish my body while I worked a lot.
Right.
But like there are days where recently like he's worked a lot more and he's got other stuff going on and we're doing a lot of things together. And so like if I know he's got back-to-back meetings, like I'll make him food. It's not because he's like, you get in the kitchen and do these things.
I nourish my wife so that there's not dead bodies in the street and people don't get murdered.
He gets me coffee in the morning for the exact
horns
reason.
are real.
Right, it's serious.
Yeah, but I think like seeing your partner's needs as a responsibility is really important because what I find a lot of times is that in the dynamic between men and women is that men are initially from jump expected to follow certain responsibilities, provision, protection, security, right? Providing, taking care of things, fine. Women aren't necessarily held to the same standard. It's not like you walk in a door in a relationship like, oh, thank God my laundry will be done. The dishes will be done. Like I'm going to have food ready. Like nobody lives that way anymore and nor do they need to. I don't think that's necessary. However, I do think it's important to understand like what are my partner's needs and how can I do that? Maybe that's support. Maybe that's safety for them to have a bad day and be angry and know that it's okay that he's angry. Like, it's fine. So long as he can control that. But for it to be like, I deserve all these things from a good man or a real man or whatever, and then like you are not being a responsible partner for that person. Like, I think that that can be a double standard if you don't recognize that that is your responsibility to keep this person in your life, is to respect, honor, and, you know, keep sacred whatever their needs might be without scrutiny, judgment, or, you know, reprimanding them for that.
Well, I think we have to acknowledge the fact that both partners need to acknowledge the fact that we choose to be with each other and we choose to accept these responsibilities, and we need to uphold that initial promise to each other, not I'm stuck in this relationship, this and this and that, blah, 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 because that's what, you know, cultivates toxic relationships, unhappiness.
Well, and
whatever.
you become a victim.
Right.
Like, you chose this shit.
Yes.
You either rise to the occasion or you don't.
Right. You met this chick in a bar, you met this dude in a bar, figure it out, you know?
Yeah, like, you chose those
You're
things.
unhappy now, guess what? Get the fuck out of it. You know, we're sitting in a room now with two people that it didn't work out, right? But they had another life that they created involved in it. So you have to, at the end of the day, do what is best for everyone involved. You know, I'm a big, like, I hate when people are like, we're staying together for the kids. We're going to work it out for the kids. It's the
That will
worst.
drive me bullshit.
Because they're going to be trash.
Children are a
when they
product
get older.
of their environment.
Correct.
Yes.
If the parents are miserable together, guess what's going to happen to the kids when they get older? If the parents are great apart, guess what's going to happen when the kids get older?
It's better to have multiple happy, full of love homes than one of hostile.
Right.
Well, and
Well
I think
said.
about this a lot because when I was younger, I didn't have a dad. My dad left when I was just really little. He wasn't even there when I was born. So with that, I grew up with a mom, and my mom is phenomenal. I love her to death. I'd do anything in the world for her. At the same time, my half sister, technically, but I call her my sister, her dad was in our house when I was, you know, in my early teen years. And he was completely just not there at all. He never bought me a pencil so much for his school. Like, he wasn't an involved parent at all. And they weren't actually in love. They did that because they got pregnant with my sister. And so, like, I didn't see a healthy relationship in my life until I was 18 and going to college. And that was when my stepdad came into my life. I call him my dad because he's given me everything and owed me absolutely nothing. But I think from that, you know, my mom taught me, especially walking away and having multiple divorces, you would say, that, like, it's okay to walk away from things that don't serve you. And if I think about my biological father, who was an alcoholic, like, everybody on his side is just unhinged. I would not be who I am had I grown up in a household because she decided to stay with him because she had children with him. Like, my life, I know me as a person would be totally different. So I'm very grateful that I did not grow up in a house out of obligation for my parents to stay together, because I don't think I would be half the woman that I am.
It's amazing the similarities that they share and the similarities that, like, you know, lack of a father figure. And you and I both love Marvel. Like, there's two really great things that we can all bond on.
Look at that. Look at that. Little nugget.
That's nice.
It is great.
I'll probably edit that out.
No, I
Because it
think
doesn't make you sound
Everybody in
wise.
the comments is like, fuck you,
Fuck
bro.
this guy.
This fucking loser, this stupid red
really
cow.
good point, bro.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
I agree, Dev. I agree.
I will say, I'm going to share a story, and I don't know if Mav's going to be okay with it, but I'm
Okay.
going to share the story. So based off of the relationship he was in, the girl that we knew, that's how we met Mav. She had told me very early on in their relationship that I guess they were talking, but he had already had like
I
a
was going
trip.
to bring this story up. This is a good story. Please continue.
He already had a trip planned with another female, and that he was going to go on the trip with her, and was told, I don't know if he had told her past tense or before. And I remember her coming to the gym and like speaking about this and like, fuck this guy, you know, who does he think he is? And it was very ego pride. And I looked right at her and I was like, he's telling you
Yeah,
about
he just
it.
told you the whole fucking thing ahead
Like-
of time. That was planned before you
like-
guys even met, bitch.
He could have just never told you anything, but he was vulnerable and transparent. Like, those are two great qualities, you know, you want to look for in somebody. I'm like, I really think you should give this guy a chance. Like, maybe it didn't make you very happy that he went and did this, but he told you about it. You should give him a chance. Well, she obviously went on to ruin the relationship. I don't know the ins and outs of what happened, but from that moment, like I hadn't even met him yet. And I'm like, this is a stand-up guy. Like this speaks volumes for who he is as a person, that they weren't dating 5 years. It wasn't like something super serious, something that he probably didn't even have to share, but he did.
I will say things about him that I appreciated from the very beginning. And I have a lot of protective energy around a lot of this. So I will own that. But from the very beginning with Mav, he carried a lot of his self-image in the eyes of other people and how they viewed him. And some of those narratives were not at all who he is. And that infuriated me. And because like who I know him to be, who he's been to me, every moment of time that we spent together, every conversation that we had, everything that he's ever said he would do, he's done for me. And then some. He's never fallen short. He's never lied to me. Like there are certain things that I don't have to like to hear, but he's never hid anything from me. And it's one of those things about him. Very early, he was very transparent about many things that he did not owe me a story around. He didn't owe me that openness. He didn't owe me that context. He owed me nothing. And so with that, I had to imagine that either he was somebody who carried a lot of inner conflicts around his life and the experience that he lived through and a lot of wounds around that stuff, or he was psychopathic, but gratefully the former. But I think there's many stories about him that I have heard and I repeatedly hear on a regular fucking basis. And if you're watching this and you're one of those people, kick fucking rocks. You don't need to send them those things anymore, please. But at the same time, I only stand behind him so much stronger because of those things, because there's nothing that I learn or find out or somebody says to me that I don't fucking already know. I know. Thank you. But I think he's carried a lot of weight and a lot of burdens that aren't his to carry. And I tried to be very responsible and open and supportive in those domains because obviously I love him. And I don't think that that level of suffering is necessary when you have such a good heart.
It sucks to be so misunderstood.
It's easier to paint somebody off than to sit there and try to understand them.
Absolutely.
And I think, my curiosity naturally is very high, but for him, I really wanted to know him and understand him. And I remember early on, one of the things I told him over and over again repeatedly was, I just need you to be you. Just be who you are. Let me decide, but you be you. And that's all I ever need you to be. And I think, I don't want to speak for you, but I think on some level that gave him a lot of freedom.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. I don't know if you guys remember that. But I fucking hate whiskey. Hate it. I love it. I hate whiskey. I can't do it. It makes me throw up. But in that relationship you're referring to, I was like, oh, this is what this person thinks is manly.
Right.
So I'm going to
She doesn't like it either.
act like I like whiskey. I like mojitos. I like margaritas and shit.
He loves his fruity tooth
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah. But that was very that was wonderful. Just be you. I was like, oh, great. Well, I love Captain America. How do we feel about that?
It's so interesting about the serial killer comment. You are, as men, we're either John Wick or we are Dexter. There's no in between.
Well, and I will own some of this responsibility because, again, a lot of this comes from my own levels of self-awareness.
Sure.
I historically have been attracted to very narcissistic men.
Oh.
And so it's like
I doubt you're the only person.
Have multiple different domains of area. And I spent the whole reason I got into psychology was because I wanted to understand my ex-boyfriend who fucking ruined my mind, kind of.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I want to understand how somebody can become that because I don't understand it.
It's very strange.
And so in that, I had to learn a lot and also take responsibility for these things about men that I am attracted to. Right? It's my responsibility. I fucking put myself there. So with that, there are certain things that people with those traits will do that are kind of acting as if, but are not actually real. And so either he was acting as if to try to get emotion out of me, to feel compassion and empathy for his position, or he was genuine. And I had to work through that.
Right.
I had to work through that and decide what I was okay with. Because either way, it was my responsibility.
Sure.
I put myself in that position.
You have to live with it.
Yeah, because a lot of people play the victim. In
It's
those
crazy. Like
things.
relationships, like with like between people, are literally just like,
A trust fall.
well, it's like working out. Like it's like, and I hate to bring this full circle with every single other podcast that I've edited, that I've watched you guys. It's like, look, we can give you all the tools, but it's up to you to not be a shitbag. Like, are you gonna make your life better, or are you gonna stay in this horrible process that has brought you here in the first place?
And I will tell you,
It's hard. It sucks. It's not fucking cool. It's
many.
embarrassing. But
It
guess
is
what?
not. It's just a kid
You know,
thing.
figure it out. Get your shit done.
But I think one of the things that I had to do very early on in our relationship was make sure that I was in the place to be the person I needed to be for a relationship. That was my responsibility. And so, like, through things, even with emotions, even with like the kind of excitement and, you know, all the stuff that, like, you can, I'm sure when you meet people, like, women have a proclivity to do this. I don't know if men do this, but like, you can create scenarios and like what your life would be like and how this might play out. And like,
100% we do it.
right. And so, like, I was like, okay, I don't want to
But
get
with armor
myself
and swords.
into a place where I'm like in this ideal world. And I have to make sure that, like, I'm doing this for the right reasons and I'm in the place to be the person I need to be for myself.
Right.
Because no matter what happens here, I will conduct myself in a way where I know if this doesn't work out, it wasn't my fault. I did everything I knew to do that I could do that aligned with my values and who I am. No matter how he behaves, I am responsible for my behavior. And so, like, keeping that top of mind for me gives me peace, because it's like, no matter what, in the worst case scenario, there's nothing more I could have done. Whereas, like, sometimes people will do this, and I know when I was younger, I would do this as far as, like, if somebody were to do something or treat you some way, like, you had the right to be a bitch or say some mean things or be vicious or whatever it might be. And you can justify it because they did those things, and it impacts how you choose to behave. And I did not like how that made me feel about myself. Like,
Sure,
I
sure.
used to have like a very sharp tongue. And so I don't like using words that cut people, though I used to do that. So I had to learn, like, okay, I don't like how I feel hurting somebody else's feelings. That's not great. So can I separate how that person's behavior might make me feel because I'm tethered emotionally or I care, either way, and then learn to conduct myself appropriately in a way that I'm okay with. And that level of responsibility gives me a lot of freedom. But it also means if something negative happens, that's also my fault.
Yes. Well, all four of us are in career paths that what we say and what we do affects the other people around us, you know, and we have to be very cognizant of that, you know, on some level, especially in the fact that all four of our fields are trying to help people, you know, so, you know, what are you going to do?
I think, I don't know. Like, I guess I love helping people, but I also, maybe it's just because I've learned, like, I spent a lot of my life outsourcing my identity and my self-worth to what I could accomplish or how useful I could be to people. And I kind of realized that that was a very fleeting emotional state. It's like, if I was useful today, then I feel good. And then later on, when I'm by myself in my apartment and there's nothing there, it's like, okay, now what? So I get that. I also think that, like, more importantly, it's, for me, the piece from that came from, if nobody's watching at all and I'm by myself, do I conduct myself in a way that I can be proud of? Or that I would say to somebody else, like, this is why I have the rules that I have. It's like, I would never tell a client to do something I've never done. I would never ask a friend of mine to do something I've never done. I just don't think that that, as a means of operating within myself, makes me feel positive. So all of that coming back, like, full circle, I think that there is a responsibility that you have for, like, how you conduct yourself in front of people and, like, how you communicate and how you show up in a way that they can see. But I actually think the more important piece is who you are when nobody's watching. I think that is, like,
of course,
paramount to,
when your quote unquote uniform gets hung back up in your closet, what are you going to do?
or, like, even, like, you know, if we want to keep the relationship idea, it's like who you are when things are great with your partners.
Yeah.
Great. Who are you when things are fucking terrible? And
Right.
there's temptation everywhere.
That's always going to matter more.
Always, but that's not easy. Like, I was watching this, Jordan Peterson put up a short. I like Jordan Peterson. I don't know if that's like a ew or yay, but either
Yay.
way, he's like, it's easy to say that you would never cheat on your wife when you've never actually had women who you find attractive
Correct.
come towards you.
I'm never going
Right.
to cheat on my wife and then put somebody in front of you that you would hook up with if your wife didn't exist.
Right.
What are you
and
gonna
then
do?
say you wouldn't cheat. Yeah.
you
And so
know,
it's one of those things.
make a
And, like, vice
decision.
versa, we can play that both sides.
Sure.
I think that that's necessary.
Absolutely.
But, you know, I think it's very easy to talk the talk. I think it's way more difficult for people to actually walk the walk.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, instead of, you say this often, but it's like being successful versus pretending to be successful or portraying myself to be successful, like actually being happy instead of taking the picture and doing the thing and like pretending that I'm happy.
Sure.
I think that in return gives you a lot more internal peace.
Action speaks so much louder than words.
This is one thing that she has always preached to me since we started talking is, look, you can be like, I'm this, I'm that. I will always support you. Always do this. If it, not all lip service means absolutely nothing if there is not a actual physical action backing that up.
Correct.
You know, like I've had instances, and I keep bringing it back to work because I've met some amazing people, you know, that have done some amazing things. And you go through some situations that are embarrassing, they're tough, they break you down, you hate how you feel, and it's either like you get bitter at that and stay bitter and harbor those feelings, or you look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I never want to feel like this again. What do I do now to never feel like this ever again? And you go through those motions, and that's how you rise above this type of stuff. You know, it sucks, but it's what you have to do.
I also think, like, as another perspective on the idea, it's like both of those paradigms is either like, I deserve that and I'm entitled to that and it sucks, or like, I'm a victim to this and it's not my fault.
Correct.
Right. But I think the alternative is like,
Then you're an NPC.
I'm not entitled to anything, but I'm willing to work for everything.
Right.
And so it's like using that counterbalance as for like, I wake up today expecting nothing, but I'm going to go out there and try to accomplish everything that I possibly can, or be the person that I need myself to be for peace, or whatever it might be the best partner that I possibly can for the person that I adore. You know, whatever your value hierarchy looks like.
Right. And then if you had a bad experience and you figure it out and you learn from it, how at that point, how do you fail? How have you failed? You know, like you are only going to get a W. It's not going to happen again.
Mm-hmm. And we all have demons. I think we all have shortcomings and mistakes and things that we're ashamed of and feelings of inadequacy and failure and, you know, all that. That's normal. It's just how much of that you decide then runs the rest of your life.
Right. I peed on the seat earlier and I had to make sure that
Did
I
you
wiped
wipe
it up.
it
You know?
off?
Of course. Exactly. See, now I'm not going to harbor that. I'm going to drive home and be fine.
What seat? Oh, toilet seat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not this seat.
Thank God. It's
Not your fucking puppy.
thank God.
Where is the puppy?
He's right over there.
Oh,
He's been in a coma for.
Yeah.
That bath earlier was very traumatizing.
Yeah.
You guys were in the bathroom. We're talking about how to use the P word.
Pussy?
Yeah,
Okay, Trump, just grab him out of pussy.
we
No.
talked about this.
Ew.
See, and
No,
using
dude.
that
No,
context,
dude.
it's terrible.
But like
Circling
certain
back.
context, right? Certain
Don't be
context.
a fucking pussy.
Right, exactly.
Correct.
That's acceptable.
Correct context.
But it shouldn't be a pussy. It should be balls. Don't be fucking set of balls.
Don't be a
That-
scrotum, bro.
Nobody's talking about the. Yeah, right. Don't be a set of testicles.
Well, I think it's more appropriate to say, don't be a dick.
Yes.
Sure.
Don't be a fucking dick.
But
Yeah,
also,
if he and I are on the same cliff and he jumps and he's looking up at me from the water, the beautiful.
pussy.
Yeah, don't be a pussy. Come on. Fine.
Scrotum.
You know, not like if we're at dinner and be like,
Okay, is that the
Bro,
only
you-
word
you-
though?
you
Because
gonna
the
get
only
that
thing you
pussy?
guys have said is pussy. Is
But
there
like
another word?
pussy, but it works in
hate it.
certain
I don't
contexts.
Okay, I
People like
can't
it,
say. Okay, so I'm not allowed to say the P word. I'm also not allowed to say coochie.
it's
Ooh,
terrible.
coochie.
See?
Coochie doesn't work ever, dude.
See? That's my dog.
Coochie never works.
No.
'cause
Like, what do you want me to call
'cause,
it?
like,
My vagina?
Yes,
Well, because like
absolutely.
I mean, okay,
I would call
vagina's
it a
gross
coochie.
too. No,
Thank
but
you.
dude, you can
Coochie.
say pussy in certain circumstances, like certain
No, but
situations.
she's talking about like her own
I can't be
Yeah.
like, don't be.
biddies. Like,
Bro,
Yes,
she
don't
can
be
call
so
it a
certain
coochie.
context. You can
She
be
can
like,
call it a coochie.
yeah, this pussy's yours, right? But you can't say that coochie. You can't be like, this coochie's yours. I'm done, dude. I'm checked out. I'm like, nope. Or vagina. Yeah, exactly. You can be like, oh, this vagina's yours. I'm like, what am I in anatomy class?
See,
Call it a
it's
pussy.
all
Crazy.
conditional. It's all situational.
It is context.
If I jump off the
dependent.
cliff first, I can't look up at him and be like, don't be such a fucking coochie dog. Doesn't work.
Coochie, dude. I'd be like, what, dude? You deserve to fall off this cliff. Coochie.
Yeah, I hope you break your fucking head on the way down for calling me a
But
coochie.
scrotum too. You'd be like, oh, no,
Gross.
dude, don't be a
Whatever.
scrotum, dude. Somebody, and it also doesn't work during intimacy either. Be like, oh yeah, it feels good on my
Yeah,
scrotum.
I love it. I love it.
Scrotum
imagine?
slap.
I love it when you
Can
lick
you
my
m-
testicles. Weird.
I'm overwhelmed.
Can you imagine for a sec? Can you imagine?
Stop. No, don't
How
dirty
about-
talk me with scrotum.
Dude, pleasure my scrot.
First of all, whoever named it, it's fucked up to start with.
Shorthand, scrot.
Vagina is better than scrotum.
For sure.
I don't like that many fucking syllables.
Oh, I love when you caress my scrotum as
Okay,
such.
stop.
Also,
stop.
we're gonna teach Kait how to snowboard.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we're definitely going to call it.
Yeah.
So
well,
that was
We
a
know all the spots.
topic of conversation when you left the room.
did you guys see my sledding video?
It's fucking amazing.
That's the one where like you took this.
Dun-dun-dun.
Yeah. Yes. I
Okay.
remember.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go not. Pee
It was
on the
memorable.
seat.
So I don't know if I can snowboard based on that.
You
athletic
literally
prowess.
pee every 15
Are
minutes.
you okay, dude?
What did I say before we started this?
Are you okay?
I'm sorry, the headphones are on. I can't hear you.
You pee more than our puppy does, dude.
I'm pretty sure we started this with me saying, "Don't have too many beers because you're gonna go ahead and open it up, and you're gonna go every 15 minutes."
Mm-hmm.
Here we are.
Okay, but I'm curious. What are other words that you can use in variable context? Because you only said pussy.
Dick.
Oh, that's
Explain.
from that movie. I'm gonna give you that dick.
I'm gonna fuck you. I'm gonna give you this dick
Where's-
with my dick.
He's reciting it in the mirror. What
Yeah.
movie is this?
Wanderlust.
Yes,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
you have yet to watch that, but I showed you that scene because it was
You
so
did.
funny.
it was really good.
Yep. I'm gonna put my dick in. Yeah. Dick. Yeah, that's a good one. You're like, you're being a dick. Okay, acceptable.
Where is it not acceptable?
Not acceptable. If you're gynecologist, it's like we talked about this the other day. If you're gyno, when you go to the gyno, you're on the stirrups and everything. If your gyno said pussy instead of vagina, I would die. I would die of laughter if he was like, "Yeah, looks like your pussy's doing really well. It's really healthy." Dude,
I would be like, "Say what?"
I would die. But also, Dick, if I was at the urologist, remember we went to the urologist and he was
Yeah.
like, drop your pants. And he was examining. He was like, yeah, your dick's looking great. I would fucking lose my shit. He's like, yeah, because he does some kind of arbitrary measurement. Like,
Your balls. He was trying to examine your balls.
yeah, hold on.
He's on
He does-
fertility stuff.
yeah,
and
he
so,
does.
like his
It's like-
balls need to grow. Like
Right.
that's a part of
Yeah.
his
My balls
fertility.
need to grow.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Ooh,
Increase in
I'm
volume.
backing
They
up
will.
into the hedge.
No, yeah, they do. They need to fill back up. So like they atrophied from years of HRT. So like he feels them and he just like rambles off numbers as he's doing it. He's like, yeah, it feels like a 12.7. Right, feels like a 12.8. Yeah.
Is
I'm
he
like,
hit the
how are
beach
you-
for some waves after? Because that's what he sounds like.
A little bit. But like I'm like, how do you come to this conclusion?
Uh-huh.
What are you measuring? Is he like circumference? Is it
the
diameter?
No, yeah.
But where did you get the number, dude?
He's
He's-
done
Testicles.
this. Do you have any idea how many testicles he touches every day?
I
Like he's a
don't know.
testy toucher. He
He is.
knows.
He's a dick guy.
he knows how
Dude,
big.
he looks at so many dicks.
Yeah.
My urologist, and when he's touching my balls, trying to assess how full they've gotten, he just yells off random numbers to the assistant. He's like, left feels like a 12.8, right feels like a 12.7. I'm like,
And you're
"What?"
like, are we metric or are we?
I'm like, is this good?
What's happening?
Like, where am I on the
Do I have
spectrum?
do I have good balls?
And I'm not talking the tism.
Wait.
I'm talking the testicles.
Not the
Correct.
tism.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to assess the volume.
Yeah, but how?
Sure,
With
do
your
they- are they
forefinger
like- are
and
they like-
Yes,
thumb?
because like I told you, he
Are they handed-
examines it all day. So he knows when it's like 4 versus
Right.
like 12 versus like 16.
That
Like
just
he
seems
knows.
really-
Well, I'm more
inaccurate.
concerned. I'm not necessarily concerned
Okay,
about
well, let
size.
you touch.
I want to know shape. Like, are they more Hindenburg or are they more like Goodyear blimp?
I think they're like lima beans.
Sure. Oh well. Okay. I
You
mean,
know?
that's more like
Or
that's
am I
a
weird?
tonsil
It's-
shape.
A lima bean?
A lima bean, like it's got a slight divot.
Like,
like
I don't
you
want
got a
them to, I don't want
ball,
them to
right?
look
Like
like
at
our
the-
studio lights. Like that would be fucking horrible. Like that would be cause for concern.
HCG will probably get them there, but it's like they got a divot. It's like a lima bean because it's round, but it has a divot.
It's
Do you
weird.
guys not do your own like exam down there? Because I know women were supposed to do our like breast
Boob,
exam.
Yeah.
I
Are,
don't-
are
I
you
don't-
guys not feeling down there? Because you're supposed
I
to.
personally don't really like touching my own balls. Like it's weird.
I
Uh,
feel
like
like
those-
a,
So that's my
I'll
job?
grab them and
Yes,
rub and scratch them.
actually
But like,
it is.
Apparently that
Sometimes
is.
to be like, I think my balls are getting bigger. And I'm like,
Okay.
Yep.
Twinkle, twinkle.
yeah, is this a lump? Is this a lump that was
You
not here a
don't
week
do
ago?
that.
Touch this.
don't do that.
yes, I do.
See, look,
Sort
now,
of.
I remember
don't
it
lie for the
very-
podcast.
You don't do it
His
like bare
prude,
balls.
You were
You
like,
feel like through my
princess. And now
shorts.
like, let me get your balls.
Yeah, you'll feel through my shorts. That doesn't count.
These are 16 and a
No,
half.
I remember a very specific experience. You came out of the shower and you're like, babe, I think my balls are getting bigger. And I was like, yeah,
That's because
I think they are.
post-test deletion.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, plus fertility stuff. So like
Yeah,
it's
those
supposed to.
things were like acorns.
Yeah. Dude, I was just gonna say mine are like almonds.
Just
almost.
purely cosmetic at this point. Why
Yeah.
are they there? I don't need them.
Not serving a purpose whatsoever.
Yeah, now it's like I would say probably a healthy grape.
This is the stuff that the pod wants to hear
Yeah.
and see.
This is
I
like
knew it would take at least 2
No
hours.
one cares about yeah. No one cares about relationship standards. I want the size of your nuts.
These nuts.
How big are your balls?
oh my god.
Yeah, they're getting there. I think so. It's taken a while. Well, since September, I've been on the fertility protocol, and we just recently decided that we're going to wait this full year before trying to have a fam bam. Because I have to have the vasectomy reversal to even do it. So even if I'm fertile, I have
Put
to
the
have
noodle
it reversed.
back.
Yeah.
So, as far as the initial procedure, which I hear is very easy to go in to reverse it, is it just as easy or is it a little bit more complicated?
Well, there's 2 different ways you can do it from my understanding. There's like a half-assed approach, basically. He doesn't want me to do this, but it's the urologist that is. It's like, okay, here's your pipes. He's like, we can untie them and put them like this. So you have to shoot from one pipe into the other one. Okay, that's one way. The other way is fully link the pipes again, which is how they were.
Look, I'm no
Plumber?
good. I was gonna say I'm no engineer, but it is my understanding that the exhaust in a car has to have no leaks.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's not ideal to do it the first way. So
the
we're gonna
odds
do
are
the
not in
second
your
way.
favor.
Yeah. You're shooting from one pipe into the other from across the pond.
Hoping you have good aim.
Yeah.
But I guess my question is, what's the difference in the procedure? Why wouldn't they just do it right the first time?
Yeah,
Well, I think there's
attach them.
Yeah, I think with the attachment, there's probably greater healing time, recovery time, etc. That's my understanding.
But a greater outcome.
I'm going. Yeah,
potential?
I'm going that
So
route.
let's do it right the first time.
I'm going that
Giddy
route.
up.
Yeah.
It's just like the wormhole in Interstellar. Like if
Okay, you've watched that movie so many times. Do you think that there's like alternative
100%.
universes and
I'm a believer of
realities?
ultimate of other dimensions. 100%.
What do you think is out there? Like, what do you think is in them? Or do you think we can't conceptualize it?
I don't think we could. No shot.
That's what I think.
We cannot.
I think that the
conceptualize.
levels of consciousness required to comprehend it are
Yeah.
beyond our current level of
Yeah,
understanding.
there's definitely something out there cool, and I don't think there's any way that we're the only assholes out here. There's no way.
Do you think, what do you think happens when you die?
Me personally,
Yeah.
I hope there is something cool to do, but I'm in the procession. I'm in the profession of potential death, and I have an interesting relationship with it because I've seen a lot of it, and I don't think anything happens.
She
I think
thinks nothing happens.
I think it's out. I don't remember anything before I was born, and I'm not going to remember anything after.
Yeah, he has a very tough time thinking
I
that
can't fathom what
that
nothingness.
it's just black. Like, I just think of
And like I don't think anything differently of people that think differently.
yeah.
I'm
Totally.
happy. She thinks differently, and that was something that we had to discuss when we started dating. Like
I believe in heaven.
correct. And I don't.
I think it's so to that point, are you religious?
Mhm.
So I think, like, I don't know if you've read Jordan Peterson's book, and I'm not like a super
Love
his
Jordan
just like
Peterson.
aligned with this, but
What
like
Canada's
we
doing
who
is
wrestle with
bullshit.
God,
Sure.
right? Have you have any idea around what that is? So his position, I think it gets wildly confused, is not that he believes in God like a man in the clouds and like that
Mhm.
type of thing, but like that there is some type of creator in the universe, and he actually thinks it's where our consciousness comes from. And so it's like the thing that orients you towards behaving in a positive way morally is from something intuitively that we all have, but we never were told, right? Not necessarily directly told, like this is good, this is bad, but we feel that emotionally when we fall short of something, right? We know it was wrong. And so, like, in orientation towards that, people ask him all the time, do you believe in God? He's like, I think that's a wrong question. He's like, but if I have to play this thought pattern, one, God is something that I can't even conceptualize if it's real. And two, if I'm going to live this life in two alternative ways, one in which I believe and one in which I don't, if there is an afterlife in which there are consequences for me behaving in certain ways that are not aligned morally with that ideal, then I'm going to choose to live my life in a way that is oriented towards those things, because if indeed there is an afterlife, that all those things become realized, I don't want to live in hell. And so it's like, I live my life this way to avoid those consequences, and because it's for the greater good of myself and society to live this way, versus like, I believe that there is a God upstairs that's watching my every mood and there's something in the clouds, like that kind of logical, realized stuff from taking the Bible a little bit literally. But I think his position is one that I very much agree with, insofar as like the consequence of living my life in orientation to the things that are mentioned in faith is not a negative thing on my life, nor is it negative for the people around me.
Sure.
And if that plays out insofar as like there's an alternative thing in when we die, if that thing is realized, then I don't experience the negative consequences of living my life in a hedonistic way.
So it's like avoidance of damnation versus pleasing the guy upstairs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting.
There's days where Devin's like, you have to get up in the morning and you have to manifest, you have to say out loud. And it's like, that's because of his beliefs. I, on the other hand, before I go to sleep at night, I go through prayers. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I'm not going to adopt your version because that's the way you do it. I have my own version, but I don't ever tell him like, there is a God. You have to believe. Like, I respect his ways.
I'm just a very reasonable person, I think, that's seen a lot of unreasonable shit in the last 8 years. And I know a lot of people that have seen life disappear from people. And I know people that have taken life from others. And I'm sure you know some of those individuals as well. And it's just a very strange concept for me to try and grasp. And that's just where I'm at now. I always tell people, I'm not a man of the cloth. I'm a man of science, And it sounds silly, but...
Do you think that faith or religion and science, or I don't want to say religion because I think that's more man-made, but like the idea that there is a creator and science cannot coexist?
I believe that, yes.
I think you're wrong.
And that's why there will always be some type of a debate over it.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. I'm not saying we can debate, but like I do think I think that those things actually are codependent on one another.
I hope there's something cool to do. I really do. I really do.
Well, it was wonderful having you all on the podcast.
These 2.5 hours.
You go cook me some steaks, dog.
Longest podcast we've ever done by far.
Yeah.
Most enjoyable.
It'll probably be like an hour and 45 minutes when I'm done with it.
If you enjoyed this, let us know, y'all. Appreciate you guys listening. If you made it this far, more to come. I think we should do this more often. I think we should pop open a bottle of wine or beer and get on here and pot it up. Thank you guys for being here. We really appreciate you guys.
We genuinely appreciate the experience.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Toodaloo.
Good job.
Toodaloo, motherfuckers.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.